Hello everyone and welcome to our live watch-along for Alfreton Town's trip to Radcliffe here at the Newven Stadium on the final day of the National League North season. Both Alfreton and Radcliffe have secured their status in the division for next season. The hosts achieved their safety recently in Derbyshire as they came out on top against Farsley Celtic to hit the magical 50-point mark and look to round off their season on a high. Of course, the Reds recently added to their trophy cabinet with a Derbyshire Senior Cup victory on penalties over Buxton, defeating their rivals on penalties to lift the 11th County Cup in the club's history. Point tallies that I would normally run you through are somewhat irrelevant today, with both sides playing for little more than professional pride. Though Alfreton can rise one position in the table up to 13th, which would rely on Scarborough losing at Peterborough Sports and Alfreton bettering their result. Our hosts this afternoon have come the stars of the Late Late Show in April, with some added time goals coming over Farsley Celtic and notably Scunthorpe. Matthew Sargent notching the all-important goal in that one in the 94th minute to significantly dent the Irons' title hopes, which is the big story coming out of the league today, of course, and we'll touch on that again later. But back on topic for now with the Reds. As far as history is concerned with this tie, Alfreton have faced Radcliffe 26 times over the years, winning 12, drawing 8 and losing 6. Most of those fixtures taking place in the Northern Premier League, and this is Alfreton's first visit to Radcliffe since the 2003-2004 season. Alfreton themselves have the potential to go 8 unbeaten to round off the season, with Radcliffe having been 3 unbeaten going into the bank holiday weekend, but losing 5-0 away at Chorley the Borough. Potentially something of a hangover result off the back of their survival and that weekend, but they'll be looking to round the campaign off on a high. So for the final time this season, and for good, Matty, I'm going to ask you for your thoughts ahead of this game.
Well, it's one of them. We've got nothing to play for. They've not got nothing to play for. It's obviously, in terms of the grand scheme of things, it means nothing, but to us it's a very sentimental day, because we've spent, well, the best part of a year and a half bringing these live watch-alongs to everyone who views them. I've been part of the media team for 2 years, and I've loved every single minute, and this is the last time we'll don the headphones for the club. With us obviously finishing our degrees this year, we'll no longer be based in Derbyshire, and there'll be, I'm sure, some people will take our jobs. They probably won't ever be as good as we were, but in terms of the football today, yeah, not very important. We're here, we're going to have a good time for the final time, watch some good football, hopefully go back to Derbyshire with 3 points, and bid you all farewell.
Yeah, I mean, it's a nice enough day for it here in Radcliffe at the Newven Stadium. Obviously, some talking points that I just jotted down ahead of the game today that I thought we'd touch on. First of all, there were the position at which we are sat at the moment. It's an unusual behind the goal position for us. You know, we're used to being kind of down on the sidelines.
They're not getting a good score today.
No. Well, we'll see how it pans out, but hopefully for our case, most of the action happens slap bang right in front of us. We're only about 5 or 10 yards away from the byline, so anything that happens up the other end will be squinting, so yeah, be prepared for that. But obviously Radcliffe, a side that, as previously mentioned in the introduction, recently secured their safety in the division off the back of a promotion from the division below in a rough start to the year. They didn't win any of their opening 10 fixtures, so it's been some turnaround for them to pull their things out of the bag and get out of the drop zone, earn their spot in the division for next season. So I'm sure they won't be as bothered about the result today as much as anyone isn't, but reaching that magical 50-point mark and just playing for nothing more than a bit of pride today, looking to end the season on a high. Radcliffe, a team who are having sifted through a lot of their lineups from the season. They will have a former Red in their team today. Starting is Matty Carson, who was on loan with Alfreton earlier this year from Grimsby. Scored his only goal for the club in a Derbyshire Senior Cup tie against Micklover. We were there to commentate on that one. It was a lovely finish on his left foot, and we were actually made aware in advance of Matty Carson's wand of a left foot by the live chat that day, and about 10 minutes later bet one into the corner. So that's something that we'll know to look out for, and we'll run you through the teams nearer to kick-off when the teams exit from the tunnel as per usual, but we'll notify you in advance. You may have seen on the club's social media channels that there has been a few changes to the side, with this game obviously being ultimately meaningless in the course of the season, but a debut handed out to one of the new Canadian arrivals, and a full debut to the other one as well. We'll run you through both of them, but Richie Guevara and his Canadian counterpart Jeremy Opong both start the game today. Guevara making his debut for the club, Opong making his full debut, having come off the bench away at Curzon Aston, but both having arrived from Seattle University. We'll see both of them from the get-go today, which should be interesting. And another thing that I wanted to touch on as well ahead of kick-off, George Cantrell with the armband today will make his 150th appearance in Alfreton red, so a massive achievement for the midfielder there. He'll be looking to add to his goal-scoring tally of 1 this season, which one that we got to commentate on. It wasn't too long ago. It was an important goal. It was a good goal at home to Oxford City, and he managed to finally get off the mark for the season, so we'll be seeing if he can add an unlikely goal to that tally. But yes, as mentioned in the intro, as we approach kick-off, about 10 minutes away now, the big story coming out of the National League North today, for all other interest in the league, is that title battle. It's going down to the final day. Not quite as dramatic as the Conference South title battle, where there are 6 teams that could win that, but in the National League North, 3 teams can all come out on top. Kidderminster, Brackley and Scunthorpe all in the mix. Scunthorpe 2 points behind Brackley and Kidderminster, so they've got it all to do. But Kidderminster, who currently sit top, will know that they just need to equal Brackley's results and hope that Scunthorpe don't do a massive comeback job on them. But who do we think is going to come out on top in that one?
I think I'd love to say it'll be something of an unlikely story, but I think it's going to be Kidderminster who ultimately come out the victors. I think they're playing Southport, and all respect to Southport, they're far down in the league table compared to Kidderminster. Brackley need a 22-goal swing in their favour to catch up to Brackley if Brackley are to win today, as well as Kidderminster. And Scunthorpe need nothing short of a miracle with Brackley playing Farsley Celtic. So I think Scunthorpe fans are going to be destined for the playoffs again. Although I was impressed when they came to our place as well. I thought we'd give Brackley a better game than we give any of those teams. Obviously beating Kidderminster early on in the season, which was something of a smash and grab. But yeah, I think ultimately it's going to be Kidderminster that come out on top.
Yeah, I'd probably be boring and agree with you. The talisman for them, Ashley Hemmings, has been scoring goals just for fun recently. He's kind of come into his own and skyrocketed them to the top of the table. Obviously, Scunthorpe looked like they were the leaders and they were going to sort of crawl over the line in the end, but eventually some results come back to bite them. That defeat at Kings Lynn recently, obviously, Alfreton held them to a 0-0 earlier this season. We commentated on that one, and as you mentioned, those performances that we've put in against those 3 teams that are at the top of the table, all pretty promising. You know, at the time we went to Brackley, held them off for 75 minutes, and eventually the pressure told. Kidderminster away, as you mentioned, that was a 1-0 win, something of a smash and grab, an own goal in the end being the difference in that one. And that was probably the best example that we saw this year of Billy Heath's classic Alfreton that we're used to, where the aim of the game is being aware that the opposition, they're happy to leave them with the ball in their own half, pass it about as much as they like, but it's about that frustration and getting in the heads of the opponents. And eventually in that one, it was enough. Lewis Salmon, I think, came off the bench there, prodded the ball across the face of goal, and Phil Brown's side, I mean, he was visibly agitated in that game. I remember watching him actually jog onto the pitch and volley a ball out of the ground.
Yeah, he did.
At one point, which was rather bizarre. But I think that spoke to the nature of Billy Heath's Alfreton side and how much they'd gotten in the heads of the Kidderminster players and the Kidderminster staff, and eventually came away with all 3 points that day. But I think they won't be too bothered if they get 3 points in their match today and win the title, get that elusive promotion that they've been after. I mean, the National League had to put out a statement for both the National League North and the National League South, where they're not doing a trophy presentation, obviously, because it would be silly to have, you know, a helicopter flying around the kind of north of England and the south of England, going from Torquay to Eastbourne, back and forth into London for Boreham Wood, just in case one of them wins the title. So might be a little bit sweet for those teams that, you know, whichever one it will be to win the league today. They won't get to lift the trophy in their home ground, but I'm sure at the end of the day they won't be too fussed, as nice as it would be. But Alfreton coming into this one against Radcliffe, back on topic, as we've said, nothing to play for more than professional pride. Radcliffe with that, I called it a hangover result with that 5-0 defeat away at Chorley. But before that game had remained competitive, and they were, churning these wins out against the likes of Scunthorpe, and then obviously the important one against Farsley Celtic, both in the last minute, both goals coming in added time to secure their safety in the division. Obviously this game, the reverse fixture this season, was an Alfreton win, I think just before Christmas or Boxing Day.
Yeah, we weren't there and all that.
Just after we'd gone home, but that was a David Moyo goal in that one to win the game for Alfreton, and they'll be hoping to repeat that feat today, obviously without David Moyo in the team. He's since left the club, but Alfreton will be looking to get another 3 points on the board, end the season on a high, end it 8 games unbeaten. That would be a very, very positive end to the campaign for Billy Heath's side.
And I think while we wait just for the players to come out, I'll do my usual away day ranking.
Here we go. Go for it.
For the players, for the Radcliffe as a whole here at the ground. We got here and we were probably given the most official check-in process ever.
It was wonderful.
That we've had. Yeah, we checked in. They give us a wristband. I feel like I get free entry into the local nightclub and a free shot upon entry. They did a lot, probably a bit more than they needed to, but it was nice and welcoming. So they get high marks. That I'd give them an 8 in terms of check-in process.
Solid. Considering
the likes of Hereford, where it's a nightmare. But it doesn't get much better than that. We're sat on these horrible wooden seats that are hurting my bottom, which isn't great. And our table is on a bit of a slant, which I'm never a big fan of. So I'd give that probably a 4 for our press area. We tried the food. They overcharged me £2.
Woo!
So that's
Jesus.
a 0.
Well, we'll head back to your rankings very shortly, but as you may be able to hear from the applause around the ground and over the tannoy, Alfreton Town are taking to the field alongside Radcliffe from the tunnel in the corner of the ground, heading towards the halfway line. They've got young fans all around the pitch waving their flags. Classic final day of the season procedure, but we'll run you through the teams, starting with Alfreton in their usual all-red strip. In between the sticks, number 37, George Sykes-Kenworthy, the fullbacks today. Number 2, Josh Claxton, and number 23, Nathan Newell, the centre-back pairing. Number 5, Adam Anson, and number 3, Max Hunt in the midfield. Looks like it's good. Well, I mean, probably David Solodemi could be anchoring that midfield, but it also could be a back 3.
Yeah.
I think we've got the possibility of that, so David Solodemi in there as well. Adam Lund and captain George Cantrill. And then at the end of the team sheet, number 31, Jeremy Oppong, number 24, Jerry McDonough, and making his debut today, number 35, Richie Guevara. And on the bench for the Reds, number 9, Jake Dade, number 11, Lewis Salmon, number 22, for the first time in a long time in the matchday squad, Billy Fuster, number 30, Owen German, and number 33, Luke Mattison.
Yeah, and for our hosts this afternoon, they have number 1, Mateusz Huelt in goal, number 2, Brad Jackson, number 4, Rick Smith, number 5, Ollie Thornley, number 8, George Glendon, number 9, Jordan Hume, who captains the side, number 15, Brad Roscoe, number 16, David Ball, number 20, Matt Carson, number 24, Matt Sargent, number 34, Danny Greenfield, and on the bench is Scott Duxbury, Josh Hancock, Tom Walker, Luke Parrington, and Reagan Riley.
There are your lineups for this match today at the Newven Stadium. Liam Smith, the referee, does his final checks with his assistants, and the sprinklers still on here for the players so they can get a nice little shower ahead of this one. By our watch, should be about 60 seconds until kick-off, providing there's not many more pre-match procedures. We are seeing Liam Smith walk towards the centre of the pitch with the ball in his hand. A man in a suit and a man in a Radcliffe shirt, so perhaps there may be some kind of presentation ahead of kick-off here. We've not been entirely briefed on it, but we'll run you through it as we see things. Sat kind of behind the goal that, from the looks of things, Alfreton will be shooting towards in the first half, providing that there isn't a kick-off switch, which we've become very accustomed to in the second half of the season especially. But I think we're seeing a little bit of photography here ahead of kick-off. Both captains standing alongside the referee, and those two men that I mentioned that walk towards the centre circle, George Cantrill and Jordan Kuehl, taking part in that photography procedure ahead of the coin flip. And we'll try and judge by the reactions of the players and then the reaction of the referee, who wins that one. So he's briefing both the players at the moment. George Cantrell hasn't had the best record from these coin tosses this season. He'll be hoping to better that.
Every single one.
Yeah, he's not got the shiniest record. Will it be heads? Will it be tails? We see the handshakes from the referee. Will we see a whistle? Nope, looks like we're going to be remaining as we were. Alfreton Town shooting towards us in the press area here at Radcliffe, and the hosts shooting away from us in this first half. So we'll be able to bring you slightly more detailed action to the things that come towards us. Those red shirts coming this way, and I suppose helpfully we'll be able to see mostly the numbers and names on the Radcliffe shirts, more so in this first half, and we'll be able to get to grips with that. But it will be the Reds to get things underway. Jeremy Oppong stands over the kickoff as the officials make their way to their respective lines. The referee does his checks around the centre circle, wait for the obligatory goalkeeper check. A few thumbs up to his assistants on either side. No check with the goalkeeper, and there we go. Things are underway here at the Newven Stadium. The final match of the National League North campaign in the 24-25 season. Jeremy Oppong did get things underway and Alfreton looked to go direct immediately, but Radcliffe happy to pinch possession and look to get up the other end as quickly as they can. David Ball looking to play it through down the left-hand side. Sykes Kenworthy having to be quick off his line and get his gloves on that one early doors. Always a nice thing for a goalkeeper to get a feel of the ball early on in the match. With a through ball from David Ball, intercepted by Sykes Kenworthy, who was alert. Came out to the corner of his box and slid. Grasped it to his chest, and then eventually looks to go long towards McDonough.
By the way, it looks like it's going to be that usual 4-3-3 with Salademi in left back and Nathan Newell occupying the left wing position. Yeah,
it looks to be that way, with McDonough and Oppong kind of being something of a striker duo at the moment. Obviously, shape could change, but that's how it appears to us. I'd agree with you. Richie Cavera in that kind of midfield role. The ball bounces out for a Radcliffe throw, sent down the line by the Borough. Straight back out this time for an Alfreton throw. Just in front of the home dugout there, and Claxton heads on over to take this one. Strips Adam Lund of the duties, who's missed out on the side today. But Claxton, as we know, doesn't have too bad of a throw himself. And he will try and launch it in towards the box, looking for McDonough. Bounces on the edge of the area. Guevara looks to recycle it, but Radcliffe win it back. Looks to be played forward. Nathan Newell's going to have to win a sprint race here against Brad Jackson, and he does so. Does enough to prod it back to his goalkeeper. Sykes Kenworthy doesn't catch that one right. You could see from his reaction straight away that he didn't get the desired connection there as he slices that one out for a throw. Radcliffe take it quickly. Here's David Ball on the edge of the box for the hosts. Max Hunt looking to put a foot in, and the ball's played through straight away to Jordan Huell. And eventually a block comes in. Combination of Sykes Kenworthy and David Salademi coming across to divert that ball out for a Radcliffe corner. But promising signs for the hosts early on as David Ball looked to prod the ball through to his striker and the captain today, Jordan Huell. Managed to get a shot away, but not before it could be blocked and out for a set piece. So Radcliffe with the first corner of the afternoon. In it comes from that left-hand side, flicked on at the near post, runs all the way through, kept in by a Radcliffe player, but Max Hunt does enough to clear things away, and that one's going to trickle out for a throw on the halfway line, on the right-hand side as we look at it. Just beneath the gantry and beneath the one of the many Radcliffe flags around the ground that have been erected. You've got one right in the corner, one right by the gantry, and then on the left-hand side we've got some St George's flags on the opposite side as well. Throw down the line, headed away by Salademi. Comes back to Brad Jackson. Looks for the 1-2, looks to go infield now. Go straight through to Danny Greenfield. Jackson again. Greenfield once more. Nice bit of interplay from Radcliffe. Glendon latches onto it and looked as if Radcliffe had put together a nice move. But eventually the ball fell to George Glendon, the former Chester midfielder. Wasn't able to get the ball under control. Max Hunt with a no-nonsense clearance sends it all the way forward. Looking for Oppong. And he goes straight through towards Matthias Hewelt in the Radcliffe goal. Plays a 1-2 with his defender, Brad Roscoe. Looks as if he's happy to keep the ball at his feet. The pole in the middle of the goal for Radcliffe as they I imagine we'll hear chanted during this game. Still Hewell sort of strolls towards the edge of his area before looking to send a long ball down to the left-hand side. It's headed away by Claxton. Glendon looks to keep it alive. Hewell recycled back into the area of Matt Sargent, goes across to his partner Brad Roscoe. Jackson in an advanced position up against Nathan Newell, looks to bring it inside. Thinks about the cross on his left foot, prods it through in the end towards Glendon. Has to cut back, looks to find Jackson again, who's made the inverted run, but Alfred unable to clear their lines. Guevara lays it back to Newell, sends it upfield towards McDonough. Radcliffe do win it back, and they'll keep it. It's Matt Sargent strolling over to the right-hand side with the ball. Jackson goes back to Greenfield. Comes back across to Carson, the former Alfreton man, drives forward and tries the shot on his left foot. We know that he's a weapon from that sort of range on his left foot, but Carson didn't quite catch that one correctly. Skewed out for a goal kick in the end. Gives Alfreton a breather.
Pull us back a second to clear up some confusion. You previously just said Adam London wasn't in the squad.
I glanced down as soon as I said that.
he is playing football. George Claxton just took a throw in.
Yeah,
we get it. It's usually Adam London. He takes every throw in. He got stripped of one, and we thought, well, he must not be playing.
Yeah, that's
I
how.
didn't bat an eye until I just saw him there, and I was like,
hang on a minute.
Hang on. Who's this imposter?
Yeah, the shape is a little bit stranger than we're used to. Obviously, with the introduction of the two Canadians into the side, being accommodated in this final day of the season. There's nothing to play for. You may as well hand out some game time to those that haven't quite had the lion's share of it so far this season. There's the back of the stand here shaking. Radcliffe fans looking to make some noise next to us. As Solidemi takes a throw for Alfred and looking to go down the line on that left-hand side. As you mentioned, he kind of occupies that left-back position today. And a ball sent forward by Adam Anson, who went down very quickly. The referee blew his whistle as quickly as he hit the deck. It's going to be an Alfreton free kick just inside their own half on that left-hand side. A chance to kind of clip a diagonal ball in towards the box. You'd imagine this is one for the goalkeeper to take, Natty.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's one of them, though, when you're knocking it forward now without Jake Day on the pitch. I always find we struggle with those kind of clips a little bit along that edge, though.
Okay.
We kind of, when we clip those balls in and he's not on the pitch, we always struggle a little bit more. It looks like Solidemi's coming a little bit more central to try and be the big man in the middle. I know they missed him on Monday night in the Baller League. He's been playing for Santon FC. In that they got beat without him.
There you go, he's an important player. But we're seeing Max Hunt as well come up from the back. Jerry McDonough's in that kind of area as well. The ball sent forward by Sykes Kenworthy towards Hunt, who was the target. But Radcliffe win the initial header and get it further clear. Only as far as Claxton on the halfway line, takes it down with his thigh and then tries to send it back into the area. Guevara challenges, does get the flick on, but it bounces straight through to the man in green today, Matthias Hewelt. Looks to get things back underway quickly, rolls it out to Brad Jackson on that right-hand side. Checks back to Roscoe. Jackson again. Greenfield looks to turn it around the corner, but Solidemi intercepts. Guevara gives it back to Solidemi. Adam Lund back to Solidemi once more now. Carries it across to the right-hand side through the centre circle. Now Hunt. Cantrell looks to find Opong. Pinned up against his man. Goes back to Cantrell in support. Back to Hunt, all the way back to his goalkeeper.
Hang on.
Across to Solidemi. Alfreton Town playing some football here on the deck. On a nice surface here at the Nuven Stadium. Solidemi looks to put an end to that and go diagonal towards Opong. Nods it back across goal into what would be a good area if there was a man making that kind of peeling run off the back of the centre half. But nice little passage of play there from Alfreton, being patient in possession, playing the sensible passes. Ended with a diagonal ball from Solidemi towards Jeremy Opong, who kind of nodded it back across the face of goal, as you're sort of taught to do, but no one there arriving in a red shirt, and Hewelt able to claim that one down to his chest and eventually distribute himself forwards, goes direct towards his front man Jordan Hulme, but it is a flag raised by the assistant referee on that far side, offside given straight away. No hesitation from the linesman there. Will be a free kick for Alfreton just outside their own box for George Sykes Kenworthy to take.
I'm really struggling to focus on the game at the moment because this seat is so uncomfortable that I can't stop fidgeting.
Yeah, I'll attest to that. This is not just Matty complaining unnecessarily. I've certainly sat on more comfortable furniture. Sykes Kenworthy looking to go direct towards McDonough, headed away by George Glendon in the end, and Radcliffe looked to break down the left-hand side. Cutting infield. Eventually laid across towards Greenfield on that right-hand side. Brad Jackson makes that underlapping run. Eventually tries to find Glendon in the middle, but Alfreton easy to pick that one off. Max Hunt lays it back to his goalkeeper, who eventually distributes long. Opong tries his best to hold it up on his own and does enough to win the free kick as well. Opong was kind of isolated on that halfway line when he had the ball pinned into him, but backed up into his man and did enough to draw the foul in the end.
Yeah, he did well. He used his body really well. Used it the right way, got his arms out. Made it hard for the Radcliffe players to try and nick that ball off him, and he went down at the right time. Did he necessarily need to go down? He probably could have stayed on his feet, but he's got himself a free kick. He made the right decision, and he did well to to get that free kick there.
Yeah, just a thing to note before this free kick is taken. We are under instruction from a previous game, as it's down on the team sheet, Canadian Richard Lapointe Guevara, as we were instructed to call him Richie, and we've been referring to him as Richie Guevara, but it's worth noting he has actually got Lapointe on the back of his shirt, so we might switch that up throughout the course of this game. We'll go with Richie for now.
Yeah.
As that free kick from Sykes Kenworthy cleared away by the Radcliffe backline. They look to break again down that left-hand side. Seems to be a targeted area for them, but eventually Alfreton able to turn the ball back over, go back to Sykes Kenworthy, play it long, aim for McDonough, and I think he's done a little bit too much of a number on Ollie Thornley there. A pair of them challenged for the ball in the air. Thornley ended up on the ground. McDonough ended up without the football. And I think that tells you all you need to know. Will be a Radcliffe free kick deep inside their own half.
It's been a bit of a nothing game so far. I know teams really grabbed the game by, grabbed the ball by the horns and taken control. No chances, no kind of major phases of play. We had that one long ball there from Solidemi that looks good, but no one's really got a foothold in this game yet.
Well, Ollie Thornley does send that free kick long towards the right-hand side, and eventually the cross does come in from that right-hand side from Jackson in the end, and Sykes Kenworthy had to be alert to divert that one away. Punched it clear, well clear as well, out for a throw-in on the opposite side over on the left. Just in front of that scoreboard, it's taken in towards the box, towards Jordan Hume, gets his shot away. Max Hunt able to slam the door shut on him. Alfreton clear their lines, and eventually Radcliffe looked to turn it back into a dangerous area. Matt Sargent looking to clip one in behind, but it bounces straight out for a goal kick, which Sykes Kenworthy looks to be in no rush to take. I think both teams kind of fully aware that with nothing on the line here today, might be played at a slightly lower tempo. But then also, I suppose you could argue there's the element of, because there's no pressure on either side, we might see a little bit more freedom, free of expression from the players. We saw, about 10 minutes in, Alfreton played a lovely little passage, keeping the ball on the floor for about a minute, recycling the ball where it was sensible to do so, and that resulted in something of a chance. Alfreton's best kind of effort in front of goal so far, if you can call it that, with Opong's header. And Alfreton looked to find Opong again. Doesn't quite get there though. Thornley with the clearance, headed away by Max Hunt up the other end. Claxton battling for it. Solidemi eventually taking charge to clear his lines. Matt Sargent picks it up on the left-hand side of the midfield for Radcliffe. Wants it back from his teammate, but Alfreton do win it back, and it rolls out for a throw-in before Richie Lapointe can keep that one in play. Straight out for a Radcliffe throw on the halfway line between the two dugouts. As Matt Carson takes that one, plays a 1-2 with Glendon. Tries to get it back, but again can't get the ball under control. Glendon, Hunt with the clearance up towards Opong. Challenges it, Adam Lund heads it down for Opong. Tries to find McDonough, but asks a lot of him. Jerry had to stretch for that one. Wasn't going to get there. Straight through.
I'm going to have to stand up
to the Radcliffe goalkeeper. Matty's going to have to take an evasive standing break to save his bottom.
Voluptuous cheeks. I just can't sit down.
Well, Radcliffe come forward themselves down that left-hand side, shifting across to the right. Nathan Newell with a momentary interception, but Radcliffe still in possession. It's Jackson. Now David Ball looks to find the ball into the area towards Jordan Hume, and it's a lovely finish. Jordan Hume with a fantastic finish. Takes the touch on his right foot, flicks it up for himself, and with something of a scissor acrobatic effort, fires it into the roof of the net beyond George Sykes-Kenworthy. And Radcliffe, 15 minutes into this one, couldn't have hoped for a better start. They have the lead here at the Newven Stadium through the captain, Jordan Hulme. It was a nice ball through from David Ball. The 34-year-old finds the skipper. Hulme knocks it out for himself, and it's a lovely finish. Has to turn his body across the face of goal, sidewinder, knocks it beyond Sykes-Kenworthy, and that is 1-0 to Radcliffe here at the Newven Stadium. It's a good start for the Borough, and an even better start for Jordan Hulme. He'll be elated with that finish and his start to the game so far. Went close early on, but this time finds the back of the net. And Alfreton now, 15 minutes into this one, find themselves behind.
It's an absolute veteran's finish. The quality to flick the ball up like that was absolutely unbelievable. It's been a long time since I've seen a goal at this level that good. To kind of flick it up. The composure as well to even attempt something like that is great. I've sat back down because clearly it's a bad omen if I stand up. Sort of for 2 seconds and we concede, so I'm going to tough it out.
Yeah, Jordan Hulme, as you say, that finish just exudes experience. Been at the National League, you know, the Conference and the Conference North level for a long time. Former AFC filed man. Taking the ball there with absolute class, straight into the back of the net. No messing about. Really, really tidy finish. And as you say, speaks to a man that's played at this level for numerous seasons. Gives his side the advantage, and Radcliffe look like they don't want to stop there as they break through once again. This time it's Brad Jackson, and a sliding challenge from David Solademi puts an end to that attack momentarily. Brad Jackson was breaking through, and still maybe on that right-hand side, tries to advance the ball into the penalty area. But Nathan Yule clatters in the clearance, bounces off of another Alfreton man, straight out for a Radcliffe corner, their second of the afternoon, this time from the right-hand side, as we look at it. But Brad Jackson broke through there, and David Solademi had a lot to do.
Yeah, David Solademi to the rescue. It's an unbelievable sliding challenge, and he times it to perfection. If you get that 1 second wrong, 1 inch wrong, you give away a penalty and you probably get yourself sent off.
Well, the corner does come in all the way through towards the back post for Radcliffe, and it bounces numerous times at the back post, bodies flying in for Radcliffe, and eventually turned behind by Often, and out for another corner in succession here for Radcliffe. Back over to the left-hand side. They look to provide the short option through David Ball, and it is utilised. Ball goes back to Greenfield. Now Matt Carson, the former Alfreton man, thinks to bend that one in towards the path of George Sykes-Kenworthy. Sort of had to pat it down first, gathered it at the second attempt.
Pat down.
Pats it down into the ground. You know, something that can sometimes be mistaken for a spill. And it looked like he knew what he was doing there. Sykes-Kenworthy taps it down into the ground before picking that one up and taking his time to distribute. Rolls it out towards the edge of the box for himself, right-footed. Long towards Jerry McDonough, looks to get beyond Thornley, but it is the big Radcliffe centre-half who gets there first, and Jordan Hulme, the target with the clearance, and eventually played over the top by David Ball. His experience shining through now as well. Across towards the right-hand side for Brad Jackson, who's seen a lot of the ball so far in this first half. David Ball again coming across to the right-hand side now. He's all over the place in the Radcliffe midfield. Now Glendon into Hulme, gets it back. Claxton with a sliding challenge. It's a late one. It's going to be a yellow card, you'd imagine, for Josh Claxton. Liam Smith brandishes the yellow card immediately for Josh Claxton, the first booking of the afternoon. And he's slid in on George Glendon to try and win possession back, but Glendon got there first. Caught the man in the end, and it's a textbook yellow card, really.
Yeah, and I said not too long ago, maybe 10 minutes ago, that no one had really got a hold of this game, got their foothold in, and I think the first team to do that has been Radcliffe. They're really starting to stamp their authority in this first half. They've got control, they've got the goal, and now they're starting to pile on the pressure. It's not what Billy Hilfer want to see, and I'm sure he'll be rattling his brain on how he can change that.
Well, Alfreton now could go 2 behind here, as there's a free kick in a very advanced position for Radcliffe on the left-hand side of the box. Matt Carson stood over it. We know how good he is with his left foot. And will it be him to take? Probably about 25 yards from goal. Referee blows his whistle. It will be Carson to take. Looks to bend it in towards the near post, and it's not a bad effort. It's on target. Gets it around the wall, but Sykes-Kenworthy happy to catch that one and let the side regroup as they progress up the field, waiting for Sykes Kenworthy to distribute. Solidemi bends his run out towards the left-hand side, but Solidemi ignored by Sykes Kenworthy, rolled out towards Max Hunt, looks to go direct himself, over towards Claxton, who's made the run forward, and it's headed out of play by Thornley, out for an Alfreton throw. And this time, the throwing duties will be left to Adam Lund to avoid any confusion. But Adam Lund probably about 15 yards from the byline, looking to prepare this throw. And doesn't have too much of a run-up, but it's a good area for him to throw this one flat in towards the box. McDonough standing on the goalkeeper. Hunt and Solidemi forward from the back. In it comes from Adam Lund. It's looped towards the near post. McDonough trying to get up there for it. Hunt as well. It's cleared away towards the edge. Recycled back out towards Adam Lund. Looks to hook it back into the area. Deflected. And eventually cleared by Carson. Not fully. Back into the box from Lund in search of McDonough. Lund gets it back. Left-footed ball in towards the box and nodded back to the goalkeeper by Oliver Thornley. Matthias Hewell happy to bring that one down and lobs it out towards the left-hand side for Carson.
The size of Oliver Thornley,
he's huge.
Absolute tank. I won't want him running into me.
Well, Matty Carson's diagonal ball over towards the right-hand side in search of Brad Jackson was picked off by Nathan Newell, knocked back to his goalkeeper, George Sykes Kenworthy, and a good turn from Jeremy Oppong as he looked to latch onto that long ball, but eventually Ollie Thornley, who's been everywhere across the back line so far, hacks that one away so far that it's bounced out for an Alfreton goal kick all the way at the opposite end of the Newven Stadium as we look at it. And Sykes Kenworthy, I think he's going to take the free kick, the goal kick, sorry, from the other side of his 6-yard box as both teams leisurely stroll towards the other side of the pitch, making their way over to the right-hand side. From our perspective, Sykes Kenworthy's left. Solidemi and Newell right on the touchline. Sykes Kenworthy's goal kick doesn't go that way really, more central. McDonough tries to come across and get something on that. Richie Guevara battles well to win it back. Lays it off to Adam Lund, tries the diagonal pass across towards Claxton. Does get there beyond his man and heads it forward, but straight into the feet of Matthias Hewell, and he's going to wait to receive some pressure from Jerry McDonough before picking that one up. Lays it off very quickly for Rick Smith, one of the centre-backs for Radcliffe today. On the right-hand side of the back line, he's happy to stroll out of his box, assess his options, and eventually carries it across to the left-hand side a little bit. Cantrell now initiates the press.
That's an awful pass.
With a horror pass, looks to sort of recycle it over towards the left-hand side towards Ollie Thornley, and that's the risky play, playing out from the back. Those two not on the same wavelength at all, and Hewell tries to play a kind of lackadaisical pass. It looked lazy. It looked lazy from
like
Hewell.
He was just happy to do it. He didn't even seem that bothered. It was a terrible pass.
Strolled along to the pass and just knocked out for a throw-in. Thornley nowhere near it, and it will be an Alfreton throw. We know how dangerous that can be. Adam Lund launches this one into the area once again. Solidemi goes down inside the area, bounces through towards the back post. Max Hunt brings it down on the volley, and it's a save from the feet of Hewell. Ollie Thornley with the hooked clearance in the end. Oppong was coming in, nearly got his head caught by the foot of Ollie Thornley, but he pulled out of it just in time, and the Solidemi is staying down inside the box. But Alfreton, with their best chance of the game so far, the throw-in from Adam Lund bounced in towards the area of the back post. Max Hunt was there, able to take it down and volley a shot on his left foot. And Matthias Hewell had to improvise, save with his feet, turned it back into danger, and eventually Radcliffe cleared their lines, and I think we're going to see the physio waved on here. Ollie is making his way onto the pitch to give David Solidemi some treatment. He went down in the midst of that brawl inside the area, and he stayed down. He has sat up, was originally laying on his back, but Solidemi now sat on his bum, ready to receive some treatment from Ollie, who's made his way onto the pitch very quickly, as per usual. Looks like it's going to be something with his leg or his foot that's the issue. So whether it, it could be something with his knee, could be a rolled ankle. We'd know all about that. Touchy subject.
I'm still feeling it. Mine still
so is mine. Well, Alfreton and Radcliffe using this moment to take an impromptu drinks break. Bottles of water chucked onto the pitch.
I'm checking the Borough score.
Go for it. 23 minutes into this one. Radcliffe leading by a goal to nil if you are just joining us. And Alfreton haven't really seen all that much action in front of goal outside of that Max Hunt effort a couple of minutes ago. But the Radcliffe goal coming early from the skipper, Jordan Hillman. It was a cultured finish right into the roof of the net. That's the difference so far. Matty, have you got some updates for us? I've
got some updates from around. So early on already, I think the one we expected most, Brackley are 2-0 up against Farsley Celtic in an attempt to make that 22-goal swing that they need. But what they'll be interested in is the fact that Southport and Kidderminster are still tied at 0-0. I mean, there's a lot of football to be played, but the longer that game goes on and the longer Kidderminster haven't scored, I'm sure they'll start to get worried.
Well, the corner does come in for Alfreton from that left-hand side, and the header from Adam Lund, saved by Matthias Ewelt. And eventually it's Adam Hansen with a deflected volley. That looked like for all the world it was going to sail over the crossbar. But Adam Hansen, through a hefty aid of a deflection, levels the scoring here at the Nuven Stadium. I'll run you through it again as we were kind of talking about the scores around the grounds. But as a result of that throw-in a couple of minutes ago, the ball was diverted out for a corner by Oliver Thornley. And the delivery comes in from the right-hand side. Adam Lund makes that trademark peeling run round to the back post, gets his head to it. It's a great header back across goal, keeps it low. Matthias Ewelt forced into a diving save, goes back into the dangerous area, and Adam Hansen is there to poach. Looks to get a volley turned at goal, and it was immediately blocked. He kind of turned around after he volleyed it as if to react that his chance is no more, but the deflection actually from the Radcliffe player loops it over Matthias Ewelt, over the defender, and right into the corner. And out of nothing, Alfreton Town have levelled the scoring here at the Nuven Stadium through Adam Hansen.
Yeah, I think we all thought that was going to sail over the bar and go out for another corner. I mean, the fact that it was a great save for the first one, and I thought, after Hanson's shot had been blocked, I thought that would be another corner. It seemed like everyone was setting up for another corner. No one kind of paid attention, and the next thing I know, the ball had dropped in the net, and no one really made an effort to stop it.
No, it looked quite bizarre. You kind of saw the goalkeeper and two Radcliffe players on the goal line, just sort of, you know, looking up, watching the ball, and just like that, it nestles in the corner. And yeah, we are going to see an early change for Alfreton. You know, you'd imagine an enforced one, as Jerry McDonough, 25 minutes into this one, heads to the bench in place of Jake Day. We didn't see him pull up, or, you know, wasn't walking tentatively or anything, but Jerry McDonough taken off in the first half here. Matt is in some negotiations to try and work out what's gone on. But Jerry McDonough withdrawn.
He didn't think Jake Day was on yet.
But Jake Day now on the pitch. First substitution of the afternoon. It's an early one. Jerry McDonough withdrawn in this first half, so it will still be a strike pairing of Jeremy Oppong and now Jake Day rather than Jerry McDonough. So McDonough heads to the bench, ending his season with a goal tally of 2, having played for Rushden Olympic this year as well. Returned to Alfreton following a spell last season where we remember he was he was a breath of fresh air really up front at times. Played up top alongside Jake Day in a strike pairing. And that was dangerous on occasion, as Jake Day looks to make his first impact on the game. A diagonal ball sent his way.
Ref, he's gone looking for that.
The clearance from Radcliffe goes into the midfield, and I think it was Danny Greenfield and Adam Lund going into a battle together. But Greenfield went down early. Adam Lund penalised for the foul, and it will be a free kick for Radcliffe inside their own half.
Yeah, I don't agree with that decision. It was one of them ones where he's kind of angled his body in a way where he was going to go down regardless. He's just waited for the impact so he could get the free kick, because the way the momentum was working with the ball and the way he was stood, he was never going to be able to bring that down and get it out. It was better for him to try and win the free kick. He's done well to win it, but I think the referee needs to do better there. Yeah,
well, Radcliffe taking their time over this set piece. We're seeing Rick Smith stand over it as the referee looks to converse with the Alfreton players. Adam Lund and George Cantrell in the mix as well. And I assume Cantrell just assuming his duties as captain of the team today, being involved in the conversations with Liam Smith, the referee. Whistle now is blown and we can get things back underway. Smith goes back to Hewell. Looks to go direct himself towards that left-hand side in search of Hewellman. He will get there. Looks to get beyond Claxton. Claxton still standing him up. Hewellman eventually forced backwards towards Carlson. Left-footed cross in towards the centre of the box, but Solidemi with a head clearance. And it may release Nathan Newell as he's got lots of green grass in front of him. Strides forward, doesn't quite have the option down the line, though he slows it down a little bit. Oppong comes across to try and provide that width that he was looking for, but it's a sliding challenge from Brad Roscoe to divert the ball out for an Alfreton throw, which Adam Lund will take.
once again, a great position for him to put it across. Trying to keep one eye on the game, one eye on the Borough score.
I'm going to say, I'm having a look at the National League North scores. Brackley have made it 3-0 against Farsley Celtic, so they're well on their way for 3 points. And as things stand, we'll leapfrog Kidderminster for the title. We'll bring you updates of that throughout this game, but this is the most important one for us as Adam Lund is throwing it in towards the area. Jake Day looks to have flicked that one on. A few Alfreton players call in for a deflection for a corner. The referee points for a goal kick very quickly, and not too much argument from the Alfreton players. We always say, tells you all you need to know. If the players aren't contesting it, the referee's probably got it right.
Yeah, it's one of them where Jake Day's up there, and the funny one was Billy Heath said in a post-match interview, watching Jake Day play is like watching a car crash, because he goes flying into everyone. He's a very physical presence up there, so it's one of them where you do well to foul Jake Day in the box, because if not, he's usually fouling you.
Well, Alfreton with the ball at the back, eventually sent forward by Sykes Kenworthy. Nathan Newell looking to battle Danny Greenfield for that one, and eventually the latter of the two does win the ball, but prods it out for nothing more than an Alfreton Town throw-in. So it will be David Solodemi to assume duties on the left-hand side, runs forward, chucks it in towards Adam Lund, plays the 1-2, and eventually hooks it up the line himself. Headed away by Smith. Jake Day brings it down there with his chest, his first real impact on the game. Here's Guevara, tries the shot himself, and it's not too far wide at all. That would have been some introduction to the Alfreton fans for Richie Lapointe Guevara. Takes the ball down in the midfield, and I saw in the warm-up, actually, when the players, or before the warm-up, the kind of pre-match, when the players take to the field, Richie Guevara sort of strayed away from the group and actually sort of visualised kicking an imaginary ball into the top corner from about 25 yards.
Could have been the bottom corner.
And he's almost, it could have been the bottom corner, but he's almost recreated that there as he gets the ball on the edge of the area. Thinks immediately as he gets it, you could tell he thought about shooting, and he takes the touch into space, gets the shot away, and eventually it just, at the last minute, fades away and goes wide of that far post. But Alfreton look the more threatening side now since that equaliser, though saying that Radcliffe looked to come forward themselves down the right-hand side through Jackson, and eventually Nathan Newell forced to poke that one out for a corner. And I think that's going to be a really interesting dynamic to watch unfold for the rest of this game. We've seen it so far in the first half an hour. Both fullbacks for Radcliffe really pushing on. Matt Carson, we know, can do that. Brad Jackson has been effective himself in this one, and perhaps that's why Billy Heath has opted for the back three, and then Claxton and Newell just doing that dirty work, bombing up and down the flanks, having to occupy both those wing backs. But Matty Carson will swing this one in towards the back post. The header comes in from Ollie Thornley and eventually diverted over. Radcliffe want a corner and get the goal kick. Liam Smith sides with the Reds, but Ollie Thornley's header was certainly goal-bound, and I think it's taken a nick off of a Radcliffe player in the end and just seen it been turned over the crossbar, out for a goal kick.
Just keep my eye on around the ground. You might have noticed a smile on my face.
Go on.
It's because Sunderland are getting beat. Well, I'll scroll back down to the National League North. Darlington now lead 2-0. Peterborough Sports have beaten Scarborough, which will more or less stomp on Scarborough's very slim hopes of. I believe there was a very small chance they could get playoffs. I'm not sure. I might be wrong.
Not Scarborough today.
Not Scarborough.
Spennymoor can.
Spennymoor, that was it. I knew it was someone.
It was an S. Well, Sykes Kenworthy's goal kick does go forward towards the left-hand side, where we've seen it go a few times so far this afternoon, but Radcliffe pinch possession back for themselves. Matt Carson looks to go in field towards the number 24, Matt Sargent, but Alfreton intercept. Cantrell looks to play it in towards Jake Day. And Radcliffe able to easily intercept that one, and the Borough look to come forward through David Ball. Jackson now gets it back from the wide area from Greenfield. Jackson continues his run in field, but eventually it's Cantrell to intercept. Plays a 1-2 with Adam Lund. Here's Guevara striding forward, looks to lay it out to Claxton on the right-hand side, try to unleash him, but he's overhit it slightly. Ball's travelled a little bit too much on the grass for him there. Straight out for a Radcliffe throw for Matty Carson to take kind of between the byline and the halfway line.
There might be nerves for the lad, but he's had to wait a long time to get some minutes on the pitch in front of the kind of Alfreton faithful. And he just had probably maybe a bit too much time and space there to think about what he did, try to make sure his pass was crisp and firm, and a little bit too firm. think as this game goes on, he might settle into it a little bit more.
Yeah, you'd like to think so. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case, to be fair. He's been on the bench a couple of times since his arrival, and he's been made to wait for his debut, but his patience has paid off, and he's in the side today, making his first start in his first appearance for the Reds, and he could have scored a wonder goal about half an hour into that first appearance. As we mentioned, his effort not too far wide of the post whatsoever. Matthias Hewell dove at full stretch, but in the end, the man in green happy to see it sail wide of the mark, and it will be a free kick for the man in green to take. Matthias Hewell strides forward out of his goal, takes the free kick duties off of Rick Smith, and Hewell, 28-year-old, sends it forward towards the right-hand side in search of Jordan Hulme. David Solademi does his best to intercept it, and Danny Greenfield has gone over to try and win the ball and fallen on it. A few Alfreton players calling for obstruction, but the referee waves play on. And eventually, David Ball tries to knock it beyond Adam Lund. The ball is nicked by Alfreton, and Adam Lund, in doing so, tries to play it forward and goes down in the process, wins a free kick, gives Alfreton the chance to send the ball forward again. Matty, you're looking at me like you've got something to say.
I'm going to give you some bad news.
You're going to give me some bad news?
Dagenham and Redbridge are 3-0 up, and Boston are 2-1 up.
Fantastic. Brilliant.
You're still drawing, though. It's all right, isn't it?
Yep. With our 12-man squad today, that's ideal. How are Wealdstone getting on?
They don't play till 5:30 now.
Oh, okay. Brilliant. Well, that's
You can watch that on the way home.
yeah, that's good. Well, in some dampened spirits now, we'll continue the commentary. Radcliffe looked to come forward down the right-hand side again, but Solademi picks it off, goes back to Sykes Kenworthy, clears that one forward up towards Jake Day, able to bring it down.
Southport are beating Kidderminster 1-0.
Oh, wow. So, as things are standing, we're going to have a big, big twist.
Brackley are top.
In the title race, and Brackley will go top, and I think will Kidderminster go below Scunthorpe at the moment if they win their game.
If Scunthorpe wins, Scunthorpe aren't winning yet.
Okay.
Still drawing at Hereford, 0-0 at Hereford.
Wow.
Jerry McDonough.
Jerry McDonough came off a Jake Day. Alfreton looks to come down the right-hand side. Josh Claxton released by the back line, tries to fire it in towards the box, towards Jake Day. Adam Lund heads it back in. Guevara tries to further the header, but eventually runs straight through for Matthias Hewell. Brings the ball down and eventually picks it up. Alfreton Town still, you'd probably say, look the more threatening side since getting on level terms.
The start was very kind of damp and dim. Once Radcliffe got that goal, they looked like they were going to take charge of the game. Nearly got a second. It was thanks to a David Solademi wonder challenge that kind of stopped it from being 2. And since Adam Hansen got that equaliser, which was, I'll be honest, it was with something of a stroke of luck. Yeah. I think no one thought that was going into the back of the net, but it ended up in there. I think it would probably be fair to give it more as an own goal. Yeah,
well, I think you can. The only case that Adam Hansen's got there is that his original shot was on target, but yeah, it was certainly helped by that deflection.
Tremendously.
Yeah, just
Millwall win. Sorry.
Just quickly, Radcliffe have earned themselves a free kick on the right-hand side. Jordan Hulme was kind of trying to hold the ball up against David Solademi and eventually fell to the floor, being pulled down by the Alfreton defender. So it will be a Radcliffe free kick on the right-hand side. The left foot of Matty Carson stood over it, the set-piece specialist. Going to be the one-man wall of Nathan Newell in his way, but Carson looks to deliver towards the back post. Sykes Kenworthy comes a long way and he gets there, makes the catch, thinks about launching it quickly for the counter-attack, but eventually holds it up. Momentarily, though, as he rolls out to David Solademi, looks to give him some space to run into. Solademi still on the ball, carries it into the Radcliffe half, beyond the halfway line, but checks back to Adam Lund. 1-2. Back with Solademi, left-footed crossfield ball towards Jake Day, headed away by Rick Smith. Claxton up against Thornley. Lays it back for Cantrell, who turns it round the corner in search of Jake Day. Brings it down on his chest, knocks it back to Claxton. Infield to Adam Lund, tries to clip it in behind for Cantrell, who's kept himself onside. Chests it down inside the area now. Lays it off for Claxton. First time cross towards the back post. Nathan Newell's arriving and his header is down low, back across the face of goal, but Radcliffe able to clear their lines right at the last moment. And Brad Jackson looks to ease the pressure. Gives it back to Matthias Hewell, who clears the ball far into the Alfreton half. But another big opportunity for Alfreton. Sorry, go on.
I have to say, in my time watching football, that I've been kind of interested in watching it, I don't think I've ever seen a player who can consistently deliver fantastic crosses first time, every single time. We've had so many players put first time crosses in, like nowhere near where they want them. Josh Claxton's first time crosses, without taking a touch, without setting himself, just whipping it into the box, might be one of the best I've ever seen. And I genuinely, I'm not even over-exaggerating, for someone to hit that many crosses first time consistently into dangerous areas is unbelievable. And Newell did very well to head it back across. It was just a shame Jake Day couldn't pounce. It was a little bit behind him. But a great move nevertheless. Yeah, fantastic cross. You'd expect that from a winger, but Josh Claxton has those deliveries on point, and that one almost resulting in a goal. And Radcliffe in the midst of that explanation have just kind of kept the ball around the halfway line, advancing slightly into the Alfreton half, waiting for the opportunity to present itself. But Nathan Newell, the aforementioned Nathan Newell, manages to win it back and carries the ball forward slightly, goes down. Marina 3-0 up in South Shields. Wow. Nathan Newell kind of going down rather in instalments there, up against Brad Jackson, but wins the free kick nonetheless inside his own half. So Sykes Kenworthy comes out of his box to take this one. You'd imagine we'll go down the diagonal route once again. We've had 2 shots on target and we've not scored. Good. Well, as we approach the 40th minute, 5 minutes to go, and obviously whatever added time there will be in this one. And we've got a fantastic quiz lined up. Brackley 4-0 up. Yes, we haven't mentioned the quiz. Matty, I'll let you run Russ through it in a second, but Sykes Kenworthy looks to go direct with this delivery towards Jake Day right on the edge of the box, and he took it down well. Opong thought about striking that one off of Jake Day's touch, but eventually Radcliffe able to clear their lines. They look to carry it away, but Alfreton win it back. Adam Lund lays it off to Claxton. He just tries to hit the channel with a dangerous area. Guevara comes across, does really well to win it back and keep it in play. Now Jake Day inside the area, carries it out, goes back to Josh Claxton. There is one of those first-time deliveries towards Opong outside the area. Goes back to Adam Lund, who wants the pass over towards the left-hand side, has to wait for Nathan Newell to come back and provide the support, but he's pushed off the ball by Brad Jackson, and eventually Jackson, unable to control it, bounces out for an Alfreton throw. But another nice little bit of play there, kind of kick-started by Richie Guevara. What has Billy Heath cooked up on the training ground this week? Because there's some beautiful little passages of play playing. Well, back to the quiz. We've got a special quiz, with it being our last time here in the gantry. The quiz consists of questions to do with our time in the gantry, little moments or jokes or things we've had. So if you're a long-time viewer, it's a quiz for you. Adam Lund does launch this throw into the area, looking for Adam Anson, tries the flick on, it's going to drop for Guevara, lays it off to Jake Day. The first-time effort. Oh, it's coming! Sails well over the crossbar and out of the ground, and that shot needed a little bit more dip on it to reach us, but Jake Day with the first-time effort had to strike it first time because the angle was getting closed down. You won't want to be on the end of Jake Day's shot. No, not at all. And he caught it quite well, but always rising over the crossbar, out of the ground. And sorry, I kind of interrupted you with that throw-in. But yeah, the quiz today, as you mentioned, not the usual trivial sort of quiz. It's more about our moments. So if you have been viewing the stream over the course of our tenure, I suppose, on the YouTube channel, then it's one for you guys as well, so that should be a good bit of fun. Yeah, another one for you. There's a team in League 2 in the top 4 that are getting beat again. Is it Walsall? It is 1-0 down. Walsall, an unbelievable kind of fall-off, and it's mental to think that Alfreton played them in the FA Cup. Matt Sadler was probably on the brink of losing his job had he have lost that FA Cup tie against Alfreton, with Walsall kind of lounging in the lower end of League 2, but this year has them and have been in the automatic spots for virtually the entire season. But since Stoke City took Nathan Lowe off of them, they've been a shadow of the side that they were earlier in this campaign. But it's funny how football works. If Alfreton had won that replay or won the game on the day, Matt Sadler probably would have lost his job. Yeah. Would they be where they are today? Who knows? That's the well, they got the game reorganised as well. Of course, yeah. Conditions, which we all kind of felt and probably still feel that if we'd have gotten to play on that day in those conditions, probably because they suited our style of play, that we would have won and got to the 3rd round that year. And drawn trip to Southampton was on the cards, wasn't it? Yeah, trip to Southampton. Well, funny how the world of football, the managerial world of football works, I suppose. Yeah, I'm not going to Southampton. Well, Alfreton did clear the ball up. We took a momentary break there
as Rick Smith for Radcliffe was down on the ground, but he's good to continue, and we're back underway. As Matthias Ewell sends the ball long. Radcliffe eventually having to kind of recreate the own clearance. Brad Jackson up against Nathan Ewell once again, a battle that we've seen a lot this afternoon. The pair of them. Nathan Ewell comes away with the ball cleanly, no foul, and eventually Jackson nibbles at his ankles. Jackson's not happy at all. He's visibly frustrated. Referee has to blow his whistle numerous times, and I think Jackson needs to be careful there. He might talk himself into a booking if he's a little too careless. But Nathan Ewell does really well again that time. Remains patient, wins the ball off of Brad Jackson. Gets beyond him and eventually draws the free kick, and he's just frustrating him, reeling him in. And Brad Jackson with a lengthy talking to now from the referee, Liam Smith, I think, is just telling him it's a foul, and you know it is. Any more chat and he's going to be booked. So Alfreton will have a free kick just inside their own half in a similar position to one that they've seen quite a few times so far this afternoon. In the 45th minute, Sykes Kenworthy prepares to take it. He's going to chuck it in front of himself a little bit, buy himself an extra yard or two.
If you're interested, local to Alfreton, we've got Ilkeston 1-0 up and Baseford 2-0 down.
Been a rough end to the season for Baseford and our commentary friends, Haytham and Jake. They've been subject to some defeats as of late, and ultimately Baseford with their relegation from the Northern Premier League. So a sad sight there for our Derbyshire neighbours.
Micklehove 2-0 up as well.
And we are going to be indicated a minimum of 2 minutes of added time. Very helpfully displayed on a nice little graphic there on the scoreboard in the corner at the Newven Stadium. We couldn't quite see the board and the tannoy was slightly distorted, but the board over there has helped us out nicely. So thanks for that, guys. 2 minutes added in this first half. Things still all square. Alfreton Town with the equaliser through Adam Anson after Radcliffe took the lead through a lovely Jordan Kiln finish. Will either side find the go-ahead goal before the break, though? Well, not at the moment. We're going to have a stoppage in play. The referee blew his whistle very quickly. Play halted for a head injury right in that left-hand corner, and it is the goal scorer and captain for Radcliffe today, Jordan Kuehl, who went down holding his head there. The referee stopped play instantly, as is concussion protocol. And Jordan Kuehl kind of rolling around. He is conscious, which is a plus, but looked to be in some discomfort, and I think he's kind of staying on the ground. No physio waved on yet, though, for Radcliffe. Still waiting on that. I think the referee might have asked him if he wants the physio, and I imagine I won't be too surprised if he said no, because there's only a couple of minutes of added time left. He doesn't want to waste the momentum that Radcliffe might have. They've kind of had more of the possession since Alfreton threw a few players forward after that equaliser. We had shots from Guevara, shots from, ball across the face of goal from Nathan Ewell, shot from Jake Day before as well. Kind of swinging the pendulum in the Reds' favour.
Yeah, they won't want to hit a half-time whistle, to be honest, the way things are going in the end of this first half. And I don't either, because then we've got to watch them attack at the other end.
True. Well, Alfreton get play back underway with the drop ball. They had possession when the referee blew his whistle, and Guevara looks to play through his Canadian counterpart in Jeremy Apong, but he can't quite get the ball under control. And eventually Rick Smith does enough to shepherd that one clear, and a good bit of improvisation from David Ball to keep it in play, but doesn't find a blue shirt. Alfreton with possession back with Sykes Kenworthy, goes to Cantrell. Now Hunt looks to go long towards Jake Day, slightly too overhit for the number 9 though. Ollie Thornley flicks it beyond his man, and Cantrell comes in, wins the ball back, and one of those trademark steals the ball off his opponent. He knows it's going to run out of play, so he's going to try and buy the foul, and he does exactly that. Referee blows his whistle, and Alfreton will have what may well be the final opportunity of this first half. As we approach the 48th minute, there will be a little bit of consideration given to the stoppage for Jordan Kuehl's head injury there just after the board was raised, and it will be Nathan Ewell to take this set piece. Free kick on the left-hand side as we look at it, but Nathan Ewell going from left to right, so on the right-hand side from an Alfreton perspective. But as we see it, Nathan Ewell kind of joining in the home dugout at the moment behind the substitutes. Give himself the most run-up he can. In it comes from Nathan Ewell, left-footed, looping just outside the area. Max Hunt tries to flick it on. Solodemi does the same, and I think he's been penalised for a high foot. And the referee blows his whistle, whether that was for the foul or just for half-time, unsure, but there is 3 blows of the whistle to indicate the half-time break here at the Newven Stadium. It's Alfreton Town 1, Radcliffe FC 1. Goals coming from Jordan Kuehl and Adam Anson. And Matty, I'm going to throw it over to you now because you know what's next.
It's time to get quizzy. Get here. Quiz time. Right.
Quentin being beckoned.
You have been kind of briefed on this. I'm going to stand up just so it's a bit easier. Oh, what's going on with that laptop? You have been briefed, but for those who weren't here at the start, and for the benefit of you two, the quiz is unlike any quiz we've ever done before, because this quiz is, none of these questions are anywhere else on the planet. This quiz is all about the Alfreton watch-along, the things that we've done over our kind of 18 months of running this show, the moments, the funny inside jokes, everything like that. You'll have questions. If you think you know what the question is before I finish reading it, get your answer in.
Okay.
First one to say the correct answer gets the point. Of course, there's always a tiebreaker. We have 10 questions. So, without further ado, I won't hold it up any longer. For the long-time viewers, the ones who are here every single time we are live, you'll know that some of these, you might recognise a couple of them. Some of them aren't necessarily all to do with the watch-along, but more to do with our time here, the 2 years we've spent with the media department. So, the first one. My ex-profile picture is me jumping out of my seat appealing for a penalty. Who was that against?
Can I buzz? Curzon Ashton away.
It was against Curzon Ashton away last year. That was the second live stream we ever did. That was the second ever watch-along. Me and you.
Claxton scored the rebound.
He did.
Yes, Claxton scored the rebound from the penalty. We'd rushed straight from uni on a Tuesday night to get to Curzon Ashton for the second ever watch-along. Adam Lund's header was looping into the top corner from a corner, which was then handballed off the line, which prompted probably one of the funniest moments we've had during this stream of me leaping out of my seat, shouting at the referee for a penalty, which we then got. The player was dismissed, and we actually missed the penalty. It hit the post. Claxton followed it in, which was an equaliser. We lost on the day 2-1. But the first point goes to Vaughan. Now, a more recent question. We've been joking for the past 2 years that we would like the ball to come into the gantry, only for it to come into the gantry on the one game we decided. I'll finish the question, but Quentin has come in early before I finished and got it right. Only for the ball to come into the gantry. The one time we weren't up there. Who was that against? It was against Marine at home this year.
Their cameraman was going absolutely mental that day, and I just wish you were up there for those two reasons. One, the ball came up, and two, because he was just absolutely off his head.
I was going to say, I was about to buzz in because I thought it might have been South Shields, because I remember we did that in the press area rather than the gantry, but I didn't want to get it wrong. It would have been wrong.
That game against Marine was one of them odd games where the weather was just so horrendous we couldn't go up into the gantry and risk the equipment. We decided to stay down in the press area where it's a worse view, but obviously significantly drier, and we can get the power through the window. We stayed down there, and then the next thing we know, 20 minutes in, the ball's gone up into the gantry, and I was absolutely furious because I've been joking for so long about how if the ball comes up in the gantry, I'll take a touch and do some kick-ups and knock it back. But yeah, that's 1-1. Quentin buzzes in with Marine. That was a correct answer. Number 3. What was the fixture where the watch-along broke over 100 concurrent viewers for the first time?
Oh, I think I know it as well. It's under your discretion as to who's buzzed.
I just saw who said what. I thought
We both kind of at the same time agreed.
Rock, paper, scissors.
Go on then, get it. There we go. Rock against scissors. I hope I get it right. I want to say it was Kings Lynn in the FA Cup.
That's what I'd have said.
Because that's got the most views.
Incorrect.
Wow.
Oh, wow. Does it get handed over?
It gets handed over.
Oh, no.
That was a big one. It's got to be a team with good following. It's got to be a team when we're playing at home that's got a good following. I'm going to say South Shields.
That is correct. That is an absolute shout. For those who didn't hear, Quentin, by process of elimination, teams with big followings we played on a Tuesday night at home. He had to break it down. He come to South Shields. I'll tell you what, I thought it was Kings Lynn as well when I was making the quiz, when I was checking the facts. But I was unsure. I checked it because you can see what the live concurrent view count is if you watch it live. Kings Lynn was our first big stream that got 93
you're
concurrent viewers
joking.
at its peak. It was just under. It was 2 weeks later that we played South Shield in horrendous rain on a Tuesday night.
The day that ruined our pitch for
The
the
day that
ruined
ruined
the
our pitch
pitch.
for the rest of the season. It was a 1-0 win. The goal from Jordan Thewlis, I believe. That was 1-0. That was a massive game in terms of our playoff hunt last season. It was South Shield that was what broke 100 viewers for the first time with a live watch along. But Kings Lynn by no means was a bad shout. That was the same kind of
close.
thing Tuesday night. Not a lot of them came. It was the first one where we had a lot of positive feedback as well. A lot of them kind of saying, "No, really good. Thanks for the commentary, guys," from the Kings Lynn fans. Next one, which watch along has the most views as of today?
I think I'm buzzing in. I think that is the Kings Lynn one because we had all that FA Cup. We were the only game that night that went to extra time in the FA Cup. So and then to penalty. So we had all of the gamblers come into the stream. That's my guess.
Incorrect. Also, we haven't played Kings Lynn in the FA Cup.
What am I thinking of then? I'm thinking of Spalding.
It's not Spalding.
I get it
either
wrong
way,
anyway.
So you were wrong either way.
It was in the FA Cup, didn't we? I don't think.
No,
We didn't
no,
stream for that, no.
No,
Darlington.
you have both got it wrong, so we're going to re-roll someone else. You can
Wow.
both back in.
Right, so it wasn't the Spalding game. Most
But it
views
said
ever.
Darlington for the benefit of the viewers here. It wasn't Spalding in the FA Cup. No, it was not. Would you like a clue?
I think I'm going to need it.
It was an FA Cup game. That is the most viewed.
Who have we? Spennymoor, I'll go with.
That's incorrect. Back to Vaughn's
What?
Frozen.
I'd say
Do we go again if it's wrong again?
Yeah. You'll kick his. Incorrect.
Are we
The
going
answer
again?
is in front of your face. It's the obvious answer. FA Cup games, our most viewed stream ever. It has 2,100 views.
Wow. I'm trying to run my head through the FA Cup run that we had now. Oh my God, I mean, we're idiots. Is it Notts County?
It is Notts County.
For God's sake, I completely forgot about that game.
That makes it 2-2. It is Notts County, 2,100. Spalding was second.
Mate, I was going to say Biggleswade after that. I was like, what's going on?
Biggleswade's third.
Well, that's not bad, yeah.
Spalding is 1,600. Biggleswade's 1,300. Kings Lynn's about 900.
Yeah.
So we've never played Kings Lynn in the FA Cup, which I was confused with what you were going on about.
Yeah, I got them and Spalding
Well,
mixed up completely.
They were up there. Although Kings Lynn never broke 100 viewers, South Shields, who did, only had about 400 views, which was a couple of weeks later, which I thought was strange.
actually
But
staying on and listening instead of checking in.
yeah. So that's up to 2-2 as we go on to question 5. This is a bit of a funny one.
Okay.
Liam once accidentally took a mirror selfie when posting the teams coming out the tunnel because me and Quinton were rushing to arrive for the game and didn't get there until kickoff. Who was that against?
I think I know. Yeah,
It
he
was
called it.
against
He called it, yeah.
Hereford.
I was a bit wishy-washy, but that
With
is...
the put us in a box, and William was all on his own trying to do everything because me and Quinton were rushing to get to the game, which we got to as the players were coming out the tunnel. He tried to take a photo of the players, and the reflection of the window did him dirty. And there was a beautiful mirror selfie. It was, a fantastic moment, a great blooper in our time here, but that puts Quentin into the lead with a 3-2. I think we all remember the moment, but sometimes you don't remember who was it against, where were we when it happened.
Quite right.
Right, let's come on to number 6. Quentin leading 3-2. Now, this is a moment that you didn't see necessarily on the stream, but all of us acknowledged it in the gantry because we thought it would have been a bit awkward to give it the time of day on the stream. When commentating in the gantry, which team had a staff member which launched a pen
Oh, I don't remember.
after conceding, who then had to do
No.
the walk of shame
I think, right, it was...
to go collect his pen? Quentin said Curzon.
I only think I don't remember the team. I remember a talking about it the other day.
I'm going to go... Oh, I know it was
Curzon is
semi-recent.
incorrect, by the way.
I know
so
it was
it's over the
semi-recent.
board. It
I've
was
got-
semi-recently.
I've got Oxford in my head. I'm just going to go with Oxford. That's what my heart's telling me.
It is Oxford. That brings it up to 3-3. So
in.
a moment you didn't see on the stream is when Liam Waldock scored the equaliser against Oxford City at home only not that long ago. Maybe
Cantrell, wasn't it? Equaliser.
Oh, sorry, Cantrell.
Yeah.
Sorry, yeah. Liam Waldock was next game, wasn't it? At home.
Yeah.
He scored a great equaliser after maybe not a red card that was given to Oxford. That probably wasn't a red card.
A contentious red card.
For two yellow cards, which probably weren't yellow cards. Well, maybe the second one was, but definitely not the first one. Where the guy who was up there in the gantry with us kind of talking to the bench for Oxford, turned around and launched a pen, which he not used once, by the way.
Where's he pulled it from?
Blew a pen across the gantry as we conceded, and he then awkwardly did the walk of shame to the back of the gantry to collect his pen. That brings us up to 3-3. Question 7. This is a very hard one.
Okay.
Who did we play in the first ever watch-along?
Goodness me. That's meant... I can't even think about when that would have been.
I'll give you both a question. I'll give you both an answer, like a guess.
Yeah.
And then I'll give you a really good clue.
Right, I'm going to... in my head, I've got a couple of teams that I'm thinking. I'm going to go with Spennymoor.
We're not in the division anymore.
I'm going to go
It's not in
Spennymoor.
Spennymoor.
No,
No.
it's not Spennymoor.
Incorrect. Just because we played them so much.
Was it Farsley Celtic?
It wasn't. Farsley was early on though. That's a good guess. The clue
Go on.
is it was one of the two teams promoted last year.
Oh.
Newly promoted side last year.
They're in the National League now.
Was
They
it,
got promoted.
was it Boston?
It was incorrect, which
Oh,
leaves...
it leaves one answer.
Big Boston it is. Well, Tamworth.
It is Tamworth. It takes the lead. Why, you were looking like you still didn't know.
I thought I was going to say Tamworth. I thought, how many teams get my first
Yeah.
Oh God, I've got it wrong. There's only 2 teams that got promoted.
No,
I had to take the gamble.
Tamworth. That was the one where I was mesmerised by Dolman and the size of him, and then his actual ability as a footballer.
It was a 0-0, wasn't it?
It was a 0-0.
Got off to a flying
So we were the
start.
only team Tamworth didn't beat last season, and that was the first watch along. I'm not for.
He didn't
not for
play when we
Tamworth.
played him this season.
But here we are. What was the first stream to hit over 1,000 views?
Oh, we just went over that, didn't we?
Your name's what went over 1,000 views a minute ago, but I wasn't.
I think I don't know if I'm being stupid. I've got Spalding in my head.
It is Spalding
Okay,
to
thank
level
God.
it up.
Thank God.
Once again, this has been really tight. 1-1 over and over. Now, number 9. This was also a moment you didn't see in the live stream, but a funny story nevertheless. Which team nearly killed us when they lit the gantry on fire
Warrington.
with an extension lead?
I'll never forget that.
Vaughan
Warrington.
got in there early. It was Warrington. They nearly burnt us down. Which, hang on a minute. I've missed a question. We'll go back. That puts Vaughan 5-4 in the lead. The final question, if Quinton gets it right, we do have a tiebreaker.
Okay.
Which team did I lose my head against while trying to figure out what formation they were playing because they were that bad?
I think you've done it a couple of times, but I think the Catalyst one I've got in my head is Banbury.
It is Banbury that takes it a 6-4 victory for Vaughan.
Well played.
In the final quiz, the quiz to do with our time here.
I never got the chance to get revenge for it.
And the tiebreaker would have been which team last season did I rush to get to only for the internet to not work at all?
Oh, and that was...
You've used them as an answer about 7 times, it's not been them once.
It wasn't Kings Lynn, was it?
No, I didn't go Kings Lynn.
That's,
You know, if Brackley win this division, I'm going to demand an apology from Andrew and Pam, who both scoffed in my face. No chance Brackley win this league. I said, you what?
But for the benefit, the team I rushed to get to last season for the internet not to work was Spennymoor on a Tuesday night. Only me and Liam went. We were on our own and drove up straight after uni on a Tuesday night. I got there only for them to have no internet, and I more or less sat there and waited until after the game, and then I had to interview Billy for the first time. I'd never interviewed him before.
I can't believe this, by the way.
We got him beat.
Yeah, so Dagenham and Redbridge, they've decided to go 4-0 up against Altrincham. That's brilliant. Altrincham, do you know that you're playing for playoffs right now? Could you do us a favour?
But I hope you enjoyed the final quiz. It's time just as the game is about to resume. One for the long-time viewers there who might have known a couple of the answers.
That was good fun.
Borough draw and 0-0.
Come on, Alfreton!
Well, there we go. Perfectly timed, as per usual, for the final time. Matty's half-time quiz concludes slap bang on the start of the second half here at the Newven Stadium. Always manages to time it perfectly right. And Radcliffe looks to go direct straight away off the back of that kick-off through Oliver Thornley, and it's going to roll straight out for an Alfreton Town goal kick. Sykes Kenworthy to take. Just going to do a quick scan. I don't think we've seen any half-time changes from either side. So things are as they stood in the first half. Obviously, if you have joined us...
2-0 up against Brackley.
Oh, that's big. Have a look at that.
Does he mean Kidderminster?
Yeah, he will.
Yeah.
Oh, challenge in the box there between Guevara and Matty Carson, and I think for a moment you thought as if Alfreton were going to be maybe appealing for a penalty there, but I think the referee's got that one right, given the free kick to Radcliffe.
If the news is getting to Brackley, they'll be ordering the open top bus.
Is it 2-0
to Southport
against Kidderminster?
Against Kidderminster.
Goodness
that
me.
puts Scunthorpe into second place, as I believe they're ahead now. Are they? Where are Scunthorpe?
They'll have to be, yeah.
Yes,
if they're ahead
they
of
are.
them.
1-0. That puts them into second, which means if by some miracle Farsley score 5, Scunthorpe would go top. But as right now, Brackley.
I'm going to have to interrupt you as Jeremy Apong's stolen it off the defender and looked to find Jake Day in the box, but his cross is cleared away.
Yeah, I'm keeping a close eye on
Give us the title run through. How's the South looking as well? Because that's a worthy talking point.
I've got to change up for the South. For whatever reason, it never
Going to
comes up on
Fotbob.
my live score. Yeah.
Who just see who's top at the moment, because it'll be too many games to go through. You'll be reading off 6 different score lines.
Truro top right now.
I think they started top. That's quite impressive.
Torquay, well, they're nearly, other than Dorking, they're all winning.
Well, Adam Lund sends a throw into the box, flicked up in the air, not necessarily away by Oliver Thornley, and eventually Thornley does get that one clear. Solademi goes back to Cantrell, right-footed cross from the far side, little too much steam on it though. Straight out for Radcliffe.
Worth
goal
mentioning,
kick.
by the way, as well, Truro, who are top on goal difference, who are 4-1 up against Torquay, who are 2-0 up. So there is a potential goal difference swing possible if Torquay grab some goals. Eastbourne Borough, who I wanted to get to win that title because they've got a nice TikTok. I quite enjoy theirs.
It is good. It is good.
Yeah, they've got some good stuff on there. Dorking drawing 0-0. I'm not sure who they play.
Well, as Matty's running us through the scores, we're just waiting for the ball to be chucked back onto the pitch by a supporter who's kind of stood there teasing the Radcliffe players with the ball in his hands and eventually chucks it back. So Radcliffe now will have the opportunity to take a goal kick. Matthias Schultz can get things back underway and eventually thinks about sending his team forward, waves them back up the pitch, goes direct towards Jordan Hulme. It bounces, Hulme with the flick. Eventually Adam Lund comes across with the clearance. Guevara tries to bring it down in the midfield, wins the free kick up against George Glendon. Looked a little soft, but Liam Smith siding with Alfreton there, awarding the free kick to the Reds in the centre circle. Guevara does well to take the ball down and get it away from his man, and does enough to win the free kick in the end.
Do you know what I'm going to say?
What?
Sunderland have gone 2-0 down.
Oh.
They can't not get playoffs, but they're in relegation form going into it. So
you'd rather play them when they're in that sort of form, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Well, Alfreton with this free kick just outside the centre circle in the end. George Sykes Kenworthy sends it direct towards the right-hand side. Adam Anson does his best to get up, but it's the Radcliffe player that wins it first. Headed away straight out for an Alfreton throw on the right-hand side as we see it. Josh Claxton left to the duties here, I think. Adam Lund does provide the short option, though. And I think now actually says, give that one to me, I'll take it. Got slightly more of a run-up on the right-hand side as he did in the first half on the opposite side. And it goes towards the near post in search of Max Hunt, headed away by the Radcliffe back line. Adam Lund trying to bring it down on the right-hand side, though, goes down under the challenge from Matt Sargent, but no foul, says the referee. And straight out for a Radcliffe throw-in right by the corner flag. I think they wanted a goal kick there, but it's trickled out just for a throw in the end. And Matt Carson, the former Ofton man, prepares to send this one down the line in search of Jordan Hulme, headed back forward by Cantrill. Solidemi, I think, is going to get onto this one. Inside the centre circle, right on the halfway line, looks to clip it in behind himself on his left foot towards Claxton, who's made the overlapping run, and I think in the end it's Matt Sargent again involved as he manages to do enough to hold off Claxton and see that one. Shepherds it out for a goal kick really well. Gives Matthias Hewell a chance to restart play from his 6-yard box, to go short to Rick Smith, and he goes long himself, flicked on by Jordan Hulme, but the run wasn't quite there from a teammate. Rolls straight through for Sykes Kimothy. He rolls it out himself towards Max Hunt, tries the diagonal ball on his right foot over towards where Opong is waiting, but Adam Lund is there to recycle it, goes across to Nathan Yule, strides forward, gets the cross on his left foot towards the near post, headed away by Radcliffe though, towards the edge of the area. Max Hunt with a lovely pass out towards Nathan Yule. He'll try the cross again from the left-hand side, cleared away once more, but Adam Lund is there to pick it up and keep the pressure on the Borough. Newell up against Greenfield. And Jackson looks to cross it in towards the back post. He hangs it up there, and I think Hewell, in the end, got a glove on that to steer it away from Jeremy Opong, who was ready and waiting at the back post. And he's kind of palmed it out for a corner in the end, taking evasive action. The goalkeeper, Hewell, just knocks it out for a corner. So Alfreton, with their second corner of the afternoon, scored off of their first one. Off the fallout of that, Adam Anson turning it into the back of the net via a deflection. And I think it's actually going to be Jeremy Opong to take the corner on this right-hand side, right-footed. One of those floated ones towards the back post, perhaps, or will he go short towards the edge of the box, clips it in towards the near post for Dave Solidemi, and his header has to do a lot of kind of neck adjustment there to try and redirect that goalwards, and he gets it in the right direction, but didn't quite get the accuracy over the crossbar, wide of the mark, out for a Radcliffe goal kick in the end. And I think there's going to be a change in this second half. It will be from Alfreton once again.
Salmon.
Lewis Salmon is ready on the touchline, and I think it's going to be, is it Guevara or is it Opong? They're both kind of jogging over towards the left-hand side. It might be a double change, actually, and I think it is the Canadian pairing. Both have come over from Seattle University, and Richie Lapointe Guevara and Jeremy Opong both withdrawn in a double swap for the Reds, and in their place come on Lewis Salmon, and I think, is it Owen German or is it Billy Fuster? I can't quite see from this angle. Yeah, Owen German. Yeah. Owen German and Lewis Salmon onto the pitch. Lewis Salmon subbed on, is one of the 3 players for Alfreton joint at the top of the scoring charts with 13 in all competitions. He's tied with Jed Abbey and Liam Wooldock, but neither of those two
gone up front.
I think it might just be for the goal kick. But yeah, sorry, not Liam Wooldock. Lewis Salmon, the only one of those 3 that are tied on 13 goals that has the opportunity to go clear at the top of the scoring charts. He's the only one in the matchday squad today. So Lewis Salmon will be wanting to get a 14th of the season, add to his own tally. And Radcliffe will respond to that with a change of their own, their first swap. Scott Duxbury comes on, scored the winner against Farsley Celtic to secure Radcliffe's safety. He's come on the left-hand side of the back line, and we'll bring you confirmation of the change when we get it. I was kind of hoping for their digital subs board that's been very helpful so far. Oh, there we go, we'll get it. It's Brad Jackson, the number 2 that's given Nathan Newell a game so far. That's been an interesting duel to watch, and I think it's a slight change of shape with Duxbury coming on the left-hand side of the defence, it looks. So maybe Thornley going a bit further forward. He was the one on the right-hand side. Maybe it's the more natural progression to see him slightly further up the field. And confirmation on the scoreboard for the Alfreton changes. Owen German on for Jeremy Opong and Lewis Salmon on for Richie Lapointe Guevara. A good debut, I'd say, for Richie. And a strong performance again from Oppong on his second appearance for the Reds. Like you said in the first half, they've been made to wait for their appearances, but they've impressed today. And they'll be happy with their run-outs today. As Radcliffe look to get the ball down the right-hand side, Adamanson just takes the safe route and knocks that one out for a throw-in. Thornley takes it quickly. Goes to Sargent. Eventually tackled by George Cantrell. Tries to find Owen German to introduce him to the game, but he's immediately challenged. David Solodemi picks up the pieces. Max Hunt goes back to his keeper. Sykes Kenworthy wants the options. Goes to Anthony, who I don't think was expecting it, but eventually works it across to Max Hunt. A nice little triangle from Alfreton at the back. Max Hunt tries to find Lewis Salmon. Jake Day comes across to help him out, but Carson's there to intercept. Huell eventually with the clearance himself up towards Huell. Adam Lund with a sliced clearance. It's going to be kept in by Radcliffe. Carson looks to just knock that one into a dangerous area, but it goes straight into the gloves of George Sykes Kenworthy. Jordan Huell voicing his displeasure with Matt Carson. If he'd have just, I think he's saying to him, if he just placed that one down the line, he might have been able to run onto it. And David Solodemi, a little Cruyff touch off of the pass from Sykes Kenworthy. He goes back to the man in purple. Sends it up the line himself towards German. Flicks it on, cleared away by Thornley. Max Hunt knocks it back on his thigh. Goes to Anson, who clears it himself. Up towards Jake Day. At 30 yards from goal, George Glendon with the hooked clearance, but Max Hunt sends it back forwards. It's very much end-to-end stuff, but not in a pretty fashion so far in this second half. And eventually the ball broke for Claxton. He tries to flick it on for Salmon, but a bit too much on the header. Straight out for a Radcliffe throw on the left-hand side for them, and it's going to be a chance for Scott Duxbury to introduce himself to this fixture on the throw-in. As mentioned, scored that all-important goal for Radcliffe to secure their safety in the division for next season, so he'll be hailed a hero by the Borough fans. Referee thought about blowing his whistle there. This is a player down. I think it's Matt Sargent that was kneeling on the floor there holding his head momentarily. It was. And the referee, you could see, put the whistle to his lips and then thought about not blowing it as he might get up, but then Sargent stayed down. Referee then blew his whistle. Matt Sargent then got up immediately. So going to be a drop ball, and I think should go relatively uncontested. Radcliffe had possession, which is why the referee waited to blow his whistle. So they'll be throwing the ball. Rick Smith tries to send it down the line to Thornley, who has kind of shifted over to the right-hand side of the defence, is getting himself a little higher up the field now to occupy Nathan Newell, but that pass slightly too high for Thornley to get onto, and he's a big man. But straight over his head, out for an Alfreton throw for Solodemi to take between the byline and the halfway line. Chucks it across the line in front of the home dugout, looking for Jake Day, and eventually there, I think Alfreton have got themselves a free kick as Lewis Salmon gets himself in something of a deliberate tangle with the defender. I want to say it's Rick Smith on that side, but I could be wrong. We'll bring you confirmation, but the yellow card is brandished by Liam Smith for the foul there. Lewis Salmon, you know, that was kind of a nothing ball. It just bounced in behind the defence. Lewis Salmon probably wasn't going to get anything onto that if he reached the ball, so in doing so, kind of just got himself in front of the man, hit the deck. And the referee sees enough for it to be a foul. So a free kick for Alfreton right on the left-hand corner of the box. A two-man wall for Radcliffe. Owen German stood over the free kick. Josh Claxton and Nathan Newell, the only men back. Every other red shirt inside or on the edge of the Radcliffe penalty box. Referee is happy with the distance of the wall. Comes over just to have a quick chat with some of the Alfreton players at the back post, make sure things are all in order. Max Hunt trying to shimmy them out of place. Owen German looks to go for goal himself, and it's cleared away near the goal line, straight out for an Alfreton throw. German got it over the two-man wall, kept it under the crossbar, but Radcliffe able to relatively simply clear their lines. And Adam Lund will waste no time with this throw in towards the front post, headed away by Thornley. German goes back to Lund, first time cross, looping towards that back post, and Huell does really well to get above the rest and claim that one with his gloves. Although his distribution give Matt Carson a lot to chase, and he went in firmly on George Cantrell, but it looked like a fair challenge, just a strong one. Slid in to win the ball, but Cantrell stayed down. I think he's felt that one a little bit, and the referee has put a stop to the play. And Matty, you've got some information, I think.
Kidderminster have got one back.
Ooh.
It's now 2-1. Half an hour on the clock. And I think Brackley will be looking, up at the top of the table, and they'll be thinking about the moments that I've got them there. And I think one of the main ones is the game against us. We didn't attend, but I believe when Brackley played at the Impact, their goalkeeper got sent off.
Yes,
and
Johnny Max did.
We then clawed it back to 3-3, only to concede in the 90th minute and lose the game 4-3. So Brackley came and took all 3 points in the game, which showed a lot of character from then, to be, 3-1 up or whatever it was, get your goalkeeper sent off. We bring it back to 3-3, only to then win the game anywhere with 10 men and no goalkeeper on the pitch. As I believe either they didn't have a goalkeeper on the bench or we'd already gone off injured.
Yeah, they had an outfielder go in goal, I think.
Yeah, they definitely did, because I was watching the goals and I thought a goalkeeper saves one or two of them. I know we weren't there, that was over the Christmas period. I was just thinking, them sitting at the top of the league, that'll be a game that they'll have thought that they'll look back on and go, wow, that's probably won us the league. Yeah,
in retrospect, I suppose so. But as you say, Kidderminster with one back against Southport, 2-1 there. Scunthorpe still 1-0 up against Hereford, and Brackley look to be well out of sight against Farsley Celtic with a job done at half-time, 4-0 up. That's how it stayed so far as they approach the hour mark in that one. We've got a break here at the Newven Stadium as George Cantrell is receiving some treatment from Ollie the physio off the back of that Matt Carson challenge. No malice in it whatsoever from the former Alfreton man. He just slid in, firm but fair, and Cantrell, I think, has felt it more than anything. And that's how things are around the grounds. A couple of other 0-0s. Chester 3-0 up against Kings Lynn in a playoff 6-pointer. Curzon with currently a point as they draw 0-0 against Leamington will be enough to get themselves into the playoffs ahead of Spennymoor, who are 1-0 up against Oxford City. Hereford obviously losing against Scunthorpe, and Buxton still failing to get a goal against the 10 men of Warrington. And as I say that, I think they might have just scored because they've bumped up to 7th in the table. So maybe I've tempted fate there. Play now finally back underway as Adam Lund launches a throw into the box and eventually slides back in to try and win it back. But Radcliffe with a clearance, and they look to come away now on the break. Jordan Huell makes that run infield. Claxton tries to put in the challenge, and the shot eventually does come in from Matt Sargent. He carried the ball all the way from his own half. Carson looks to recycle with a great ball in towards the back post, and it was all the way through towards the number 16, David Ball, the 35-year-old, storming into the area, making that late run. And he does get on the end of it, gets a strong foot on it, but it's not quite enough for it to be turned goalwards. It hits the side netting, and Sykes Kenworthy happy to see that one trickle wide. Things remain all square here. What's the chuckle about? What's Quentin just showed you?
You have to see on the bus, mate.
Okay.
You have to hang fire on that one.
Well, Alfreton with the goal kick straight up into the Radcliffe half, and it's a bit of football, kind of tennis in the midfield. Jake Day just puts his man on the floor. No chance for Scott Duxbury there. He's just been shoved to the ground, and free kick awarded very quickly. There's the car crash.
Like,
hope he's got insurance.
Might be the funniest thing Billy said.
It's a great turn actually from the big man, Ollie Thornley. Looks to release Sargent down the right-hand side, and it's a good ball into the box. And Claxton forced to clear it away. Thornley leaving a little bit for Claxton to think about, and he wasn't too happy with it.
Get him told, Clackula.
Play quickly restarted through Carson, tries to slip a ball through, and that would be a great ball if Greenfield had made the run a bit sooner. Adam Lund, I think, looking to make a slight meal of a coming together there between Greenfield and a professional exchange there of a tap on each other's backs to say that it's all in the spirit of the game. Sykes Kenworthy with a sidewind volley looking to find Jake Day. Headed away by Carson. Cantrell looking to knock it back forward. Away again by Smith. Forward again by Hunt. Smith happy to leave that one straight through to Hewelt. Rolls it out quickly for Scott Duxbury, and I think he might have overplayed that one. Rolls it straight out for a throw-in. Just got ahead of himself, couldn't keep up with the football as he was dribbling it out towards the touchline. It's going to be an Alfreton throw on that left-hand side. Adam Lund with the ball in his hands, as I'm sure doesn't come as a surprise to many people. Nathan Newell does provide the short option. Solidemi staying back, but the usual suspects outside of that inside the area. In it goes from Adam Lund, headed away at the front post. Nathan Newell looks to rescue it, recycles it back to Adam Lund. Tries to set up the cross on his right foot, does so. Loops up in towards the back post. Hewell does get a palm on it, and Lewis Salmon, I think, adjudged to have obstructed the goalkeeper slightly more than is considered fair. And a free kick awarded to Radcliffe inside their own box. I think we've just heard the attendance over the tannoy. I heard 1,247, so a good little turnout for Radcliffe here on the final day of the season. Not quite the party atmosphere, I'm sure that was exercised away at Chorley after their survival status was confirmed, but a nice day out. You've seen a lot of the youth teams that are here. We drove in on the little minibus, and we drove past their development centre. Looks quite high end for a club at this level.
Yeah.
And I think we've got a lot of those teams, a lot of those junior teams, a lot of the youth sides in the ground today. We also saw a little presentation. One of the slightly more senior teams, I think you'd guess the kind of under 13, under 14 age group, parading a trophy around the pitch at half-time as well. I didn't want to interrupt the quiz, but we noticed that at half-time, so a good atmosphere all round, and as things stand, still all square. Radcliffe will be looking for the winner, but Alfreton will be looking to end the season on a high as well. And they have a free kick here. Owen German uses his initiative to take it quickly to release Nathan Newell down the left-hand side. Looks to hook one up towards the back post. Jake Day's there, as is Max Hunt, but eventually it's cleared away. Adam Lund tries to keep it alive. Flicked on in the end by Anson. Prodded out wide towards Adam Lund on the right. Kept in play by the midfielder, only just. Tries to hang one up towards the back post, but doesn't quite get the desired connection there. That cross sailing out over the stand behind the goal, bounces off its roof, and out for a Radcliffe goal kick.
Just a little interesting spot there. I was having a look through the leagues, and former National League North top scorer Isaac Fletcher has scored to put Barrow in the lead. I believe his first goal since he left in January from Spennymoor.
He's a great player. We saw him at the Impact, didn't we, this season?
Yeah, he was very, very talented. And he moved with a lot of power for a lad who isn't necessarily big.
Well, Jordan Hulme looking to take down that goal kick from Matthias Hjort. Did really, really well. And again, kind of speaking to his kind of veteranship in his career. Took it down really well. But then David Solidemi with another one of those perfectly timed sliding challenges that he loves. Absolutely sticking one in there. Winning the ball back for Alfreton, and then off the back of that, a free kick awarded to the Reds as well inside their own half. There is going to be another change for the Reds, and I think this will be a lovely moment if it is who I think it is. Billy Fuster, I want to say, is the man coming out of the away dugout for what will be his first appearance for the Reds in 2025. He's had a lengthy spell on the sidelines, included in a matchday squad for the first time in as long as we can remember, since the last calendar year. And on he comes.
Since October, I believe it is, after he's had to undergo surgery on his shoulder. And a very talented player, and finally makes his return to the pitch in the Alfreton Red. Comes
into this one in place of George Cantrell, so perhaps he'll be operating in the kind of midfield role where we have seen him play previously. We've gotten used to seeing him on the wing as well. Oh my goodness me. Out of absolutely nothing there, I was focusing on the fact that Billy Fuster had come on and looking to see where he's going to slot into the shape, and the free kick was sent forward by Alfreton, the one that was won by Solidemi, and it bounced into the area. Lewis Salmon, he was just on the penalty spot, and he had a free shot at goal, and Matthias Hjort had to make a reactionary save to deny him, and I think Adam Hansen was in there as well, looking to make it a brace for himself. His shot was turned away and eventually out for a throw-in, and Alfreton looked to send it back into the mixer. Here's Owen German on the edge of the box. Will it sit up for him? I think he wanted to try the shot on his left foot, but the ball just wouldn't sit up in a nice enough way. It is recycled back to Adam Lund. He tries the left-footed cross. Ricochets out for another throw-in. And yeah, I think Billy Fuster is slotting into that midfield role. And as I was talking about how we'd gotten used to seeing him operate on the wing, Billy Heath absolutely berating him week in, week out, running up and down the line, making him do the dirty work. but I think he'll be slotting into the midfield as we kind of play a slightly different shape today with that back three kind of model. And Radcliffe clear their lines from that Adam Lund throw-in. Jordan Hulme does really well once again to knock it beyond Owen German that time. He's up against Claxton now on the left-hand side. Can he get beyond Claxton? Into the box he goes. Still with it, Hulme drives it across the face of goal and Solidemi forced to intervene. Sargent was waiting for it inside the 6-yard box, but that is a fantastic run from Jordan Hulme. He's been the man of the match today so far.
Go on.
For both sides, but right at the other end, Jake Day almost unintentionally released by Scott Duxbury. But Radcliffe able to clear their lines. Second half really livening up here at the Newven Stadium. 20 minutes of normal time left to play. And Billy Fewster, with his first introduction to this tie, picks the ball up with his back against play, wins a free kick. He'll be glad that his first introduction to a football match in about 7 months has been a positive one. You always want to get your first touch right, and he's done so. So Alfreton will have a free kick on that left-hand side. 4 players stood over it. Nathan Newell and Owen German, the two likely candidates, I think, from that group, and the other two now walking away.
It's always hard coming back into football, especially after a lengthy injury like Billy Fewster's had. You just don't feel like the wheels are oiled. You don't feel like you can move like you used to. You don't feel that confidence. Football's about momentum, sharpness, and feeling confident, and you get that by getting minutes and playing well, and your touches being good. So it's one of them where Billy Fewster, for all his ability he has, he'll be hoping he can start to grease them wheels as quickly as possible.
Yeah, that free kick from Alfreton was taken short and then swiftly overturned by Radcliffe as they won the ball back, looked to come forward themselves down the left-hand side through David Ball, but Alfreton win it back, progress up the field now towards the Radcliffe box on the right-hand side. Salmon interchanges a pass with Claxton, looks to cross it up towards the back post, teeing up Jake Day, and it's eventually on the ricochet, falls back to him, and Jake Day with a left-footed volley. I don't think he knew too much about where the ball ended up after his header. It kind of bounced off the back of Rick Smith, and Jake Day tries that left-footed volley, but sails over the crossbar. Not as far over as his previous effort in the first half, but still beyond the crossbar. Needed to get that one with a bit more dip. Again, one of those efforts, it was always rising, and if he gets it rising perfectly into the roof of the net, that's perfect. Jake Day will be slightly frustrated with himself. Had 2 pretty solid opportunities in this game so far. Unable to get on the score sheet from the bench, of course. Didn't start this game, but came on relatively early in the first half in place of Jerry McDonough. As Radcliffe send the ball long from Hewell. Eventually Owen German picks that one off. He's happy to knock it back to George Sykes-Kenworthy.
Very
Knocks it out
with his feet, isn't he?
I was going to say, yeah, something that's changed Alfreton's fortunes around a little bit. The loan in from York City. Sykes-Kenworthy has been a real star in his loan here at Alfreton. This is ball over to Max Hunt, finds its way straight through to Nathan Newell on the left-hand side, drops it back for Adam Lund in an advanced position, tries to go back to Nathan Newell, does get beyond his man, Oliver Thornley, who ends up on the ground. Goalkeeper wanted that as it ran through to him, but didn't get the call from Glendon, who clears it himself. Up towards Hulme. Now Sargent comes across once more. Now to David Ball, tries to chop inside. Max Hunt has the ball on the edge of the box, thinks about the layoff, goes back to Hulme. Now Matty Carson comes across to the 24, Matt Sargent. Dropped back to Ball. Infields to Glendon. Can he pick out the incisive pass? Drives forward himself into the area. Goes back to Hulme, tries to prod his shot at goal. And I think that was just a case of frustration. They'd been having the ball in and around the box for so long. Hulme saw the gap, got the shot in, but quite a tame effort in the end, and Sykes-Kenworthy, a man who we were just singing the praises of, able to make a fairly routine save. Low down to his right at the near post. Distributes that one to Max Hunt. He looks to go diagonal towards Jake Day. Brought down on his chest. Is he going to think about the volley? He takes it down once more. A couple of more touches, then tries the shot, blocked by Scott Duxbury in the end. And Jake Day, I thought for a minute, was about to hit an absolute perler on the volley. I know he thought about it. Jake Day, you've robbed us. But his shot eventually closed down, and Radcliffe tried to come forward down the right-hand side. And eventually a kind of blind ball down the line towards Nathan Newell. He's put on the floor by Oliver Thornley. Nathan Newell's happy to concede that because it means the goal kick. But Thornley is a big guy. And Nathan Newell did shift him over there earlier on.
Someone needs to sort him out, that Thornley. Not me.
Definitely not me.
Maybe
Play-
Jake Dale.
Yeah, that'll be the battle that I want to see.
Goliath versus Goliath.
Sykes Kenworthy takes this goal kick short to Max Hunt, gives it back to the goalkeeper, lays it across to Solademi. Tries to play that one down the line and get a bit of loop on it. Over towards Fuster, but headed away by Smith. Now Hulme looking to bring it down in the Alfreton half, carries it back across his own halfway line. Glendon into the feet of Greenfield. Glendon again. Turns on it, swivels, goes back into the midfield to his partner, Matt Sargent. Gets away from Owen German really well. He's got Carson in support on the left-hand side and he will use him. Carson with the first-time cross. For his sake, I hope that bobbled just before it got to his foot because that one flew out of the ground in what looked like a good opportunity for Radcliffe. Matty Carson, we know he's a much better crosser of the ball than that. But he'll be frustrated with that one. Not his finest effort, that's for sure. Straight out for a goal kick with 15 minutes left on the clock. Here at the Nuven Stadium, things still all square following the opener from Jordan Hulme and Adam Anson's equaliser, aided by a deflection from a Radcliffe player. Alfreton Town probably would be happy with the result. It would mean that they end the season 8 games unbeaten, which is always a nice end considering the drop-off that we saw post-Christmas that saw us drop from playoff challenges to kind of, I mean, at a time, you know, let's not beat around the bush. We were in a conversation for relegation at one point if we kept going on that trajectory. But Billy Heath has turned things around, a couple of new faces, and in the end, can end the season on a real high. A cup win in there as well, a bit of silverware, and ending the season 8 games unbeaten would be a real plus for the Reds. And that's how things currently stand here at the Nuven Stadium. We'll bring you some title challenge updates in a moment as things enter the end of their matches, their respective matches.
It's because I'm always scrolled up at the top trying to see if Borough have scored. Although, if anyone is interested, Plymouth are 2-0 up against Preston. Baseford have clawed one back. That's 2-1 to Hebden. Now Ilkeston are 2-0 up. Matlock have equalised against Lancaster. Micklehove are still 2-0 up. I
think Buxton have shifted into the playoffs.
Yeah, they're 1-0 up against Warrington. Leamington are leading Curzon Ashton, which is why that change has happened. As we look down, Southport still lead 2-1. Kidderminster have 10 minutes to score twice.
Can they do it?
Curzon Ashton losing to Leamington drops them from 7th to 10th, putting Buxton in that final playoff spot, which is, I think, nothing short of a miracle for them. I think after the last game where we beat them, I mean, I'm looking at it. If he is Spennymoor are 1-0 up, who else is in and around there? Obviously, Curzon Ashton getting beat by Leamington. Hereford as well, obviously losing to Scunthorpe. That'll be a harsh one for them to miss out. So basically, I think Buxton needed 2 out of 3 results to go their way, and they are. Yeah,
and that could be quite the feat for our Derbyshire rivals. John McGrath's Buxton side may well sneak into the playoffs with half an hour of the season left. As Radcliffe looked to come forward through Duxbury, laid it off to David Ball, but Solademi with the interception. Sykes Kenworthy gets it from him, looks to clip it out towards Claxton, who I don't think was ready for it whatsoever. A slight miscommunication there from the pair. But 12 minutes to go here of regular time in this fixture. Claxton makes an interception from that Carson throw. Adam Anson with the long clearance gives David Ball a one-way hug. I don't think David Ball was reciprocating the energy there, but nonetheless, ball up the line, cleared away by Radcliffe. Not all the way though. Drake Day got something on that, and Billy Fuster nicks it back. And I think, a free kick given to Radcliffe. Matt Sargent ends up on the deck off the back of that, and I believe we may well see a quadruple change for Radcliffe. If I'm looking over that, I'm seeing 4 blue shirts all lined up, and it's just kind of in that area for us where we're sat. It's right bang on the crossbar and then underneath the netting, so it's kind of hard to tell, but I can see a sea of blue. And so we'll try and bring you through the changes as they come. Matt Carson, the first to be withdrawn in place of Tom Walker. Played in the Football League with Harrogate He makes his way onto the pitch in what looks to be a like-for-like, takes up the position on that left-hand side. So that's the first of the 4 changes.
1 by 1.
We're going to go through 1 by 1. Second change is number 16, David Bull, the 35-year-old, had a 6-year stint in New Zealand with Wellington Phoenix recently, and he is withdrawn in place of the number 7, who we have on the bench, Josh Hancock. Took me a minute there. Formerly a Salford, Josh Hancock. He comes on in the second of the 4 changes. And number 34, Danny Greenfield, the next man to be withdrawn in place of Regan Riley, ex-Bolton man, makes his way onto the pitch. And then just the one more to go. We can tell you he'll be coming on. It's Luke Partington. He's the only man left on the bench. We get to see who's going to be the one that comes off. Number 5, it's Ollie Thornley, withdrawn in place of Luke Partington, former Stockport Academy man, makes his way onto the pitch. Radcliffe have now used all 5 changes.
You just missed as well, Mark Carroll, Billy's assistant coach, was for some reason over this side of the pitch.
Oh, right.
Ran around the back of the goal and high-fived all the kids as he come past.
Well, that's all the changes made for Radcliffe. Wholesale changes in the remaining 10 minutes here for the host. And with Luke Mattison, the lone man left on the bench, he's the only player that can come on for the Reds. So he's all alone over there, bless him. The Bolton Wanderers loanee. Radcliffe with a throw-in, looking to make something happen early doors. Tom Walker goes into Hulme. Incisive pass from Hancock, looking to find the run of the new substitute Regan Riley, but strikes Kenworthy quick off his line to claim that one easily. Looks to launch Alfreton away on the counter. Nathan Newell, it's a great spot from George Sykes Kenworthy. Nathan Newell carries it over towards the left-hand side. Corner of the box, does get the cross in on his left foot. Cleared away by Radcliffe. And I think it's a turn from Regan Riley to get beyond. In German, Sykes Kenworthy, though, comes off his line to deal with that long ball. Spots Adam Lund in a bit of space, who has taken the armband from George Cantrill. Radcliffe with the ball at the back for themselves. Happy to recycle possession. Forward it comes. Headed away by German. Brought down in the end by Roscoe. Goes across to the one of the many substitutes. Regan Riley gets it back. Jordan Hulme. Riley's trying to peel around the body of Adam Lund. He's not letting that happen, but he does lay it off to Jordan Hulme, who looks to carry it infield, prods it out wide towards the substitute Luke Partington. Looks to deliver on his right foot towards the substitute who was waiting in there, Josh Hancock, and it was a good delivery, but Sykes Kenworthy comes off of his line, launches himself out off his goal line to claim that one, stops the cross, keeps hold of it, and Sykes Kenworthy, a man that we recently sung the praises of on this stream, a man that has kind of changed Alfreton's fortunes, been really impressive in between the sticks in his stint here in what will likely be his last appearance today as he returns from his loan at York City, who, as of today, will have lost out on the National League title. Barnet, when I last checked, were 4-0 up against Aldershot, which will be more than enough for Dean Brennan's side.
Oh, we can have a look. Yep, there. Nowhere near.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. Very good side, Barnet. Couldn't beat us, though.
This is the problem with that league, though, with only one team getting automatic promotion. York have been so good, and they're winning today against Solihull, and they've got 11 points more than anyone else in the playoffs. Forest Green in third, and they're not going to get automatic promotion. Speaks to
the reasoning about the 3-up campaign, I suppose.
Yeah.
Something that all our viewers and all the people here will be very familiar with. But Alfreton did have a throw just then from Adam Lund. It bounced all the way through everybody in the box and straight out for a Radcliffe goal kick. 6 minutes left to play here of regular time, and I think it's kind of a case of both sides are, neither side are kind of going to throw everything at the winner here, but both sides still looking to come out on top, end the season on the better high. As much as a draw would be all right, I'm sure, for both teams. Radcliffe needed to bounce back from that mega defeat on Bank Holiday Monday. Alfreton just looking to continue the unbeaten streak towards the end of the season. Billy Fewster wins himself a free kick right on the halfway line. Owen German stands over it. Solademi and Claxton stay back. The rest of the red shirts head forward. Nathan Newell's kind of lurking on the edge of the box. Every other red shirt at the back stick, and it goes from Owen German. It's a good ball towards Jake Day, but he can't quite get his header right. There was a lot of pace on that cross. It was going to take a great header to direct it goalwards, but Day unable to do so. Straight out for a Borough goal kick. Matthias Schultz set to take this one from the, a rarity. You see a goalkeeper taking a goal kick right from the centre of their 6-yard box. It's normally one side or the other. He's happy to take it from the centre. Goes forward, looking for Hulme. It's brought down by Regan Riley.
Definitely say if you're taking a goal kick from the centre, it's usually because you want to go short, gives you the option to go left or right.
Or Jordan Hulme does latch onto that ball on the right-hand side. And the linesman waves his flag, not for offside, but for a foul, as David Solademi ended up on the deck. And I think it was Josh Hancock that was giving him a bit of a handful. And Solademi stays down on the ground, holding his head. He did go down on the ground earlier this game in the first half. Ollie had to come and give some treatment to Solademi. And do have that remaining change on the bench in Luke Mattison, should they need to make it, but Solademi's back to his feet and looks like he wants to continue, so the change, if it is made, won't be an enforced one. Solademi continues, and the referee blows his whistle for the free kick. Yeah, got to be fit for Santan FC. Sykes Kenworthy stands over this free kick, about 30 yards from his own goal. Looks to go direct towards the centre of the box. Jake Day looking to crash in there, and eventually, that wasn't too far from going into the back of the net. George Sykes Kenworthy has almost just scored. As he sent that ball forward, it's bounced inside the box, and I don't think Matthias Schultz was that prepared for it, and he had to backpedal and tip that one over the crossbar, out for an Alfreton corner. That would have been some way to end your loan stint.
Any danger, Middlesbrough Football Club?
Still 0-0.
Yeah, we've had 5 shots on target.
Well, Alfreton take the corner short this time. German quickly to Newell. Looks to cross it in towards the back post, towards Max Hunt, who does rise highest, but can't quite direct his header at goal. Ball, even for Max Hunt, it was slightly too high. Bounces off the top of his head, out for a Radcliffe goal kick, as time looks to be getting away from both sides here.
Baseford have come from 2 behind and levelled it to 2-2.
Nice.
Hooray.
Is the National League North looking the exact same in terms of the title picture? Still 2-1 to Southport against Kidderminster.
Yep, it's looking... Hang on as I have a...
Kidderminster need those 2 goals desperately, didn't they?
Through. Buxton are now 2 up, so that's...
Probably playoffs confirmed for them.
Yeah, unless Curzon Ashton managed to turn it round against Leamington.
Well, yeah, one of the Radcliffe substitutes that came on in that quadruple change, Josh Hancock, got the ball across to Tom Walker, and he shimmied beyond Josh Claxton and Max Hunt quite well, but ran out of field. Just took it over the touchline ever so slightly.
Dagenham Risborough's a 6-0 up.
What is going on? Makes our 0-0 against them last week look a lot better.
Yeah, you're 1-0 down, mate.
Oh, you're joking. Fantastic. Well, Radcliffe looked to send the ball forward with one last roll of the dice towards Jordan Hulme. Solademi with the clearance in the end. Is Lewis Salmon going to get there? I think he might do. He's up against Scott Duxbury. Salmon tries the shot, and it's not too far away from reaching the back of the net in the end, but Lewis Salmon could have added to his tally, could have got himself well clear at the top of the scoring charts, but Salmon just over the bar, and I think we are now going to see the final change of the afternoon, the 10th in total. Not often you see all 5 changes made by both teams, but Luke Mattison ready to be introduced, and the 4th official, I mean, he held the board up for about a millisecond there and then put it back down, but I think it's Josh Claxton to be withdrawn in a like-for-like swap on the right-hand side of that back line in the wing-back position. Luke Mattison will come on in the 90th minute here. Well, there we go. Mattison in the final change of the afternoon. All have now been made with nothing more than injury time to play, really. Mattison comes on for his final appearance in a red shirt. He'll return to Bolton after this game. Not literally, I imagine he'll go home first, but he'll go back to Bolton Wanderers Football Club, and that'll be an end to his loan spell. It'll be an end to Owen German's loan spell, an end to George Sykes-Kenworthy. All players that have come into the side and done really well in the later stage of this season, in the turnaround that we've seen. But this season isn't over yet, as Jake Day looks to release Billy Fewster down the right-hand side. It's cleared away by Radcliffe and out for a throw-in. Duxbury clears that one away a little bit further, but ends out going out for an Alfreton throw. 3 minutes of added time to be played here at the end of the 90 at the Nuven Stadium. 3 minutes left of the National League North season. Will either side find a winner, or will things remain all square thanks to Adam Hanson's equaliser in the first half? Adam Lund prepares the throw-in. In it goes towards the front post, flicked on at the near post by a Radcliffe player. Jake Day tries to bring it down on his chest at the back post, and eventually Roscoe able to clear it. Solidemi, I think, is going to be happy to see that one roll out for a throw. Thought about taking it quickly to Sykes-Kenworthy, but I think was aware that Hancock was alert to it. Didn't want to turn possession over so cheaply. So Solidemi waits. Continues to wait for the opportunity to present itself down the line. There it is. Solidemi chucks it down the line towards Jake Day. Eventually controlled by Salmon, forward again by Day. Alfreton just trying to gain some territory down that left flank. I think it's going to be a free kick to Radcliffe off the back of that. Nathan Yule kind of clattering into his man, George Glendon. And the ball out of the ground. Quickly back onto the pitch. Just about a minute and a half left of the injury time period to play. And the referee not happy with where the free kick was taken, so they're going to be made to do it again. Has to uphold the rules. I'm guessing he's said it needed to be taken from further back. I'm not entirely sure, but judging from the fact that the goalkeeper's now taken it, I'd imagine that is the case. Liam Smith waits for the free kick to come forward from Matthias Hewalt in towards the Alfreton box. Solidemi with a headed clearance. Radcliffe will have a throw-in on the right-hand side in an advanced position. Hancock looks to recycle it back towards the edge of the area for Roscoe, and he fancies the shot. Could have been the fairy tale end to the season for the Borough.
And for me.
But that one, I was going to say it wasn't too far away, but that one goes over the crossbar, out for a Sykes-Kenworthy goal kick. And that is probably the last action of Alfreton's 24-25 campaign. Still got about 30 seconds left to play of that stoppage time that was allocated after the 90 minutes.
Just as well,
go for it.
Our Derbyshire friends, Derby County, have gone 1-0 up against Hull, which I believe more or less relegates Plymouth and ensures their safety with the best goal difference around that point. Plymouth aren't mathematically relegated by that goal, but they need a 14-goal swing.
Yeah, probably not going to happen. Well, there we go. There is Liam Smith's whistle, and there is the conclusion to the 2024-25 campaign. And we're seeing a pitch invasion from some of the Radcliffe fans. A lot of the younger supporters peel onto the pitch. Some of them members of the youth team as well, but I'm slightly surprised by that. But I suppose you're a team that's just stayed up at the level at the first time of asking. It's an impressive feat for Radcliffe. Alfreton fans, voicing their praise for the side, completely opposite from us in the fancy dress. Nice to see the turnout there, but there we go. For the final time, Matty, I'm going to ask you for your thoughts on the game.
What a load of rubbish. Well, it wasn't a great game to watch, but it's never going to be. Neither team has anything to play for, nothing to look forward to. Our seasons were over, 2 games ago.
Yeah.
Well, Radcliffe's 2 games ago. I was before that. It was never going to be a game of really high intensity with high emotion. Played professional, the respect for the other teams in the league that had something to play for, and obviously seeing out the season. But the season as a whole, another fantastic year.
Yeah.
Absolutely loved commentating on this team for the past kind of year and a half, being a part of the club for the last 2 years. In terms of just really, really quickly before we get on to kind of our goodbye, Brackley are 5 up.
Yeah.
Kidderminster are still 2-1 down.
Looks like it'll be Brackley for the league then.
Brackley for the league. But like I say, wow, it brings an end to the season. Probably not the most exciting game we could have ended on, but I wouldn't have had anything different. I wouldn't have had anything different for the kind of final game or final season. It's been fantastic. Oh, my phone's gone.
There we go.
Phone's gone.
What an end that is.
Yeah. For everyone who's kind of anyone who's kind of tuned into any of these streams since the start, really appreciate it. We've enjoyed bringing coverage. We've had some fantastic moments. We've commentated over some fantastic goals. Really important moments for this team as well. We've seen many players come and go. And all sorts has happened, as you said, with the quiz as well at half time. So I think for the final time, we want to extend our thank yous to everyone who's listened, who's made us kind of running this show possible. Yeah. If we did this once and no one tuned in, we wouldn't have been able to do it for as long as we have and as successful as we have. We appreciate anyone who's kind of ever left a kind comment towards us, thanking us all. We thank you as well. It really means the world to us. Kind of for the final time for us.
I'll add to that as well. It's a nice way to kind of round off the season, like you say, in footballing terms. All for the end of the season, 8 unbeaten, but as you say, for us, it's been some ride. 2 playoff campaigns, 2 massive FA Cup runs, and we get to the end of this season, securing the safety of the division for the next year. It's been a tumultuous season, but it's been full of ups and downs. It's been full of great moments, great memories. Met some lovely people along the way, made some lovely memories. And again, echoing your comments about thanking everybody that's ever left us, nice to see. But yeah, as you say, that is the final time that we'll sign off on the stream.
The only thing I would have changed is I wish I had a better commentary partner. He has done my editing. He's absolutely get a load of this guy.
Yeah.
No, it's been an absolute pleasure going around the country, even some of the horrible Tuesday night trips. We've had some fantastic moments as the stream starts to bother at the final moment.
Typical.
So we'll begin to wrap it up. The music plays. We've had a fantastic time. Thank you everyone for tuning in every week. Thank you for tuning in today. Usually I'd say we'll see you next time.
But we won't, yeah.
But we won't. I'm sure there'll be 2 people slightly less attractive and slightly less good at commentating who take over next season, but give them a chance.
Give them a chance.
I'm sure they'll pick it up eventually. And yeah, well,
that's it. As we tip over the 100 viewer mark,
we will.
Right at the end of that stream. Yeah, that's going to be it. I'll let you sign us out.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much, everyone, and we will maybe one day see you again. Most likely not, but thank you anyway, and see you for now.
Bye bye.